ni mwamko mpya na Nosim FM 105.7 Kajiado County.
Nosim FM Osimlino.
Monday morning, it is the 15th day of June, the year being 2026. Good morning from wherever it is that you are watching us from. This is Good Morning Kenya, and we are broadcasting to you live from the broadcasting house. Welcome to the show. I hope that you had a lovely weekend, and I hope that my colleagues also had a lovely weekend. It was a football weekend as well, and I don't know if the teams that my colleagues are supporting got to win any of their games. Victor, give us on. What teams are you supporting, by the way?
First of all, good morning. It was a sporty weekend, by the way. Give us on.
Yeah.
It was a lot of things really happened that were never expected. All right. And before even we go to the World Cup, guys, did you know that the Harambee Starlets under-17 played on Saturday against South Sudan under-17? That is a CECAFA World Championship. The ladies thrashed South Sudan 16 goals to nil.
Can you imagine?
16.
Was it 16?
16 goals. No, 16.
16 goals. Brenda Aching scored 2 hat-tricks in first half. 6 goals in first half.
And I am told the game ended prematurely.
Yeah.
So suppose the game went up to 90 minutes.
Probably, yeah. Probably
would be 32 goals to 1.
Or more.
More than 20. 16 goals.
Oh, 16 is quite something. What does it say about the other team? It's like they were not in the field.
16 goals. You know, that wouldn't care because there are 11 people. So you'd say that every player scored.
Yeah.
And
so
then
I'm told the other team.
Yeah.
I'm told the other teams. The reason why the match ended prematurely is because I think there was so many players on the other side who got injured. But my very close sources say that it might be not injuries. They actually surrendered. They wanted the match to end.
That was an embarrassment. Yeah, that was an embarrassment.
I mean, just look at this. Brenda Ching scored the first opener, 6th minute. Then she scored 22nd minute, then 33rd minute, 34th minute, 35th minute. Yani after every 1 minute, goal. 1 minute, goal.
Oh, that was quite something. That was quite something. So congratulations to the Harambee Starlets for that amazing, amazing performance. Anyway, aside from that, today being a Monday, you know that we are going to be bringing you several things right here on the show. We'll talk matters politics, and we'll also get to have Family Check. And on Family Check today, we are looking at mental wellness in the modern household. How does that look like? And how do we get to ensure that our homes are our safe havens, and for that we will be having Ambassador Dr. Joshua O. Gwara, who is a peace architect, the founder and CEO, Premier Dispute Resolution Institute of Africa. We'll also have Elizabeth Kenywa, who is a family life advocate. She is also an author, a speaker, and the founder of the Naomi Talk Global. And we'll have a seasoned guidance and counseling psychology expert by the name Doreen B. Atunga as well, right here for us to get to talk about that topic. And we'll have that conversation at 9 a.m. Now, on the political side, I am sure we have noticed the changes and the switches that are being made. We saw Kangata, joining the Linda Mwananchi side. Victor, are these moves that were expected? And maybe what more, from your point of view,
you are amazingly right. Because now what we saw yesterday was unexpected. We never saw Governor Kang'ata, or Barua, as he calls himself, switching his stance to the Linda Mwananchi. All right. So this is my prediction.
Yeah.
Thika is presumed to be the gateway to Mount Kenya. All right? They start softly, then they come to Githurai, and that has already opened their doors into their gates to Mount Kenya. Their next step probably will be to the inner circles of the Mount Kenya region. We also how they separated. One wing went to Mount Kenya and another wing was in Western Kenya, the other side of Rigiji and United Opposition. The other side of Linda Mwananchi were actually within the central, that is Murang'a, Kiambu, and back to the city. So what is going to happen next is a different side kind of moves, chess game. That's what I want us to talk about. What are some of the strategic moves that these politicians are putting? Are they strategic? How strategic are they? And how smart are they? It was a packed weekend. We also saw that former LSK president, Odhiambo, also joined forces.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So is it Nairobi woman representative? Is it for the senatorial seat of Nairobi?
We are yet to find
All
out.
right.
I think, Victor, we are yet to see things. You know, as time moves by, we approach maybe September, November, going to December. I think we are yet to see things, politically speaking. You will be seeing a lot of moves.
Yes.
A lot of moves.
For sure.
Yeah, so Daddy Lorogo, political and governance expert, will be here. Engineer Crispus Wathimba will also be here. He's also a political analyst. And Peter Ndungu, all the three gentlemen will be here. Let's just talk about and make sense of what is happening. Meanwhile, give us on, right now, Ivory Coast, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, on the
I was waiting.
Football. Sweden is 3 and Tunisia 1 so far. They are on their 75th minute. Remember, we are 8 hours behind. It's being played in the US.
Yeah.
So we are 8 hours behind. That's why it's 8 today. So there we go.
And so I found a favorite team for myself, Ivory Coast versus Ecuador.
Yeah, they beat Ecuador 1-0.
1-0 at 90th minute. And guess who was the scorer? Victor? Who was it?
Go ahead.
Who was it?
Go ahead.
No, say the name.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, you don't know?
No, I know.
Okay, Amad Diallo. Guess the club he plays for.
No, you
Which club does he play for?
No, you go ahead.
Yeah?
Name it.
What are you saying?
Name it.
You don't know?
No, I know.
Oh, of course, it's not Arsenal.
I know.
It's Manchester United. I know
you
know
wanted
that.
me to say that.
But you can say it. It's okay. It's
All
okay.
right, give us one. You wanted me to say that? No way. I'm loyal.
We give Ahmad his flowers.
All right.
Sure, yeah.
And so at this moment, you want me to take you to the world of news? Now let's go ahead. And President William Ruto has taken a swipe at his critiques over his foreign and local trips, saying he is fulfilling the demands of the presidency. The president attributes his position as God-given, and there is a reason for him to serve at such a time, while maintaining that he will not relent in ensuring the country makes progress in development. President William Ruto cautioned his opponents against hiding behind the politics of tribalism. Here is more.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church in Kiserian, Kajiado on Sunday played host Ruto, who was accompanied by a host of leaders. The president defended his busy schedule, saying the progress of the country depends on deliberate, tough decisions.
Musikuwe na wasiwasi na mimi. Wengine wangasema pengine huyu mtu angeenda holiday, sijui angeenda wapi. Wewe kama unataka kwenda holiday, wewe enda holiday. Hiyo ni sawa. Mimi niko na kazi ya kufanya. Na ukiangalia diary yangu imejaa miezi 6 mbele.
He said his mandate to serve the country was bestowed on him by God and that he will not fail to deliver.
Na nilitafuta hiyo kazi kwa sababu niko na imani Mungu wako na sababu amenifanya niwe kiongozi wa taifa letu la Kenya kwa wakati huu. Na nia yangu ni kutimiza.
The president was also keen to point out what he termed as politics of tribalism by the opposition.
Unasikia mtu anasema, hawa wako na shares, hawa hawana shares. Hawa ni Tungati, hawa ni Tugunia. Hawa ni cousins, hawa ni maadui. Hawa sijui ni nini. Hiyo lugha itaharibu taifa letu la Kenya.
Leaders present hailed the development programs being undertaken by the Kenya Kwanza administration.
We want to go to that first world very, very soon. And I can see the measures which you are being taken by Kenya are going to take us there.
Amboseli transition is gradually coming to an end, and 1st of July, the Ma Nation will take possession. This is a very special correction of historical injustice.
2027 politics also took center stage as leaders committed their unwavering support in the next general election.
Ni two-term. Ni two-term. Hiyo ndio sauti ya hapa. And there are those who are saying many things. One term, sijui nini. One term na si agenda. You are serving your one term, na you will serve another one term. Itakuwa ni two-term. Hapo tukienda mbele. Lakini hao watu, kuna kitu hawajui. Hawajui Mungu wako. Sisi tulikuwa watu wa baba. Tukatembea na baba. Na tulikuwa na baba. Tukaambiwa tuko na deep state. Na tikiri wakati tulifika ukaguzi. And me, I see people walking, they don't have a quarter of the credentials of baba. Na wanafikiria watamanage. Mungu awabariki.
Now, Anglican Church of Kenya Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit has told the Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja and the DCI boss Amin Mohammed to either arrest the goons who attacked the All Saints Cathedral on Friday or resign from office. Sapit said the sponsors of the goons whose faces were captured terrorizing congregants must also be uncovered and prosecuted, adding that the church is a place of worship and must be respected. The Anglican Church of Kenya on Sunday broke its silence after an attack by goons on its premises on Friday at All Saints Cathedral in Nairobi.
This now raises questions. Why have we witnessed in the recent past? This is the second Anglican church to be attacked. We have seen other churches. We have seen people attacked in meetings. We have seen people attacked in funerals. And it seems nobody want to expose who owns these goods.
While condemning the incident, Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit termed the ugly event a wake-up call for the nation, warning that invasion of churches, hotels and street by goons was taking the country on a slippery trajectory.
It is ironical that we sent our police force to Haiti to go and maintain law and order in a country that was overrun by goons in that nation. Whether we were successful in that mission or not, the question is, if we can go out to contain goons of another country, why are we allowing goons in our country to override and to take center stage in our nation?
He has demanded the arrest and prosecution of goons whose faces were clearly captured on CCTV as they unleashed violence on congregants.
We also want to call upon the police. Why are goons operating in broad daylight and they are never brought to book? So we want to urge the DCI and the IG of police to ensure that especially those who attacked this church on Friday, where the CCTV cameras have exposed their faces, where the motorbikes that they were using, number plates were seen and they are visible, even in yesterday's news, they have to be brought to book. If they don't, and not only them, together with their sponsors.
Failure to arrest the goons, Sapit said the IG of police and DCI boss have no business being in office.
The DCI and the Inspector General of Police have no business in sitting in those offices. They should resign as an honorable thing, and Kenya must ask itself, are the police the one in charge of our security or our goons? Who is in charge of public order, law and order in this country? Those are the questions we are asking, and we want answers, and Kenyans want answers, and we want those answers quickly, especially now as we gear towards election of 2027.
Recall that the church had hosted stakeholders and members to conduct a post-budget analysis to educate Kenyans on the impact of the red budget when goons stormed in. He has, however, vowed that the church will not be intimidated to take its place in informing and guiding its members on current issues that affect their daily lives.
We know God is in control, not those who will power, not even the goons themselves. These are passing grass, as the Bible taught us today in Isaiah chapter 40.
According to police, only one suspect has been arrested as investigations continue. On a related matter, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCC, has raised concern over increasing cases of political intolerance, intimidation and violence in the country. Now, warning these incidents threaten national unity and democratic values ahead of the 2027 polls, NCC Chairperson Bishop Kefa Omai vowed to take a stern action on hate mongers. Now, and as Timothy Kipnusu now reports, the commission condemned the recent attack at All Saints Cathedral, saying places of worship should not be used to settle political scores.
The attack by goons on a post-budget meeting at All Saints Cathedral 2 days ago has sparked the wrath of several leaders. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission NCAC Chairperson Bishop Kefa Omai condemned the act, saying it reflects an emerging and worrying trend of anarchy in the country.
The incident at All Saints Cathedral is not an isolated occurrence. Rather, it reflects an emerging and worrying trend in which acts of intimidation and goonism are increasingly being used as tools of political contestation.
He said any attempt to disrupt lawful gatherings or silence different opinions through intimidation or violence will not be tolerated.
Such conduct undermines constitutional freedoms, weakens public confidence in democratic institutions, and threatens the social cohesion that Kenyans have worked hard to build.
He confirmed that the Commission is currently handling 58 hate-related cases that have lasted for 3 years and undertook to ensure the culprits are held accountable for their actions.
We are going to come up with a list of shame for some of the leaders who are culprits, so that even as Kenyans want to elect, they know who they are electing into these offices. Devoid of peace in the country, there will be no elections or peaceful elections, and there will be no country that we shall be proud of.
He, however, acknowledged the lack of prosecutorial powers as a barrier to the full execution of their mandate.
Kuna mapendekezo tumeshayatoa yako bungeni, na tukipata hiyo amendment, basi watu wetu wataanza kuona hatua fulani.
Omai, who is barely 3 weeks old at the helm of NCIC, also vowed not to succumb to pressure from government or any political affiliation in the course of duty, promising to be neutral at all times.
There will be no favoritism when it comes to handling cases as they come to our desk. As investigation reports are brought to us, we act decisively. One thing I can tell you, and this one I'll assure you, let me assure Kenyans, we don't act emotionally, and we don't act on the pressure that people normally meet on us. We act on facts.
Now, a section of Kenya Kwanza leaders wants the united opposition to take responsibility for Saturday's attack on a school bus at Harambee Market in Matungu, Kakamega County. Now, speaking in the Navaholo constituency, the leaders led by President William Ruto's personal aide Farouk Kibet also drummed up support for the re-election of President William Ruto, saying he has equally, or rather ensured equal development across the country.
The Kenya Kwanza Brigade attended the Sunday service at PAG Church at the Navagolo Sub-County Commissioner's grounds in Kakamega County. They lashed the united opposition, linking it to the attack involving a school bus carrying students from Binyanya School.
Sasa mnaenda mnapiga watoto pale Harambee na kupiga mambo ya basi. Na uliza Masengeli, sheria hata iwe ni mimi nisifunje sheria kwa sababu ati niko kwa serikali.
You cannot succeed by causing violence to children. Yani umekuwa mtu wa roho chafu, umekuwa mtu mfedhuli, mpaka mnatupa tear gas kwa watoto wadogo.
They then continue to make their case for why President William Ruto deserves a second term, stating that the Kenya Kwanza government has ensured equal development across the country.
Na to support the government of the day. Tuwe watu watulivu, tuwe watu wale wanajua kiongozi gani atalete manufaa, ni gani atalete vurugu.
Werevu wetu ni kupaki kwa serikali ili 2027 tusaidie William Ruto amalize term zake mbili.
They slammed the opposition leader, saying they neither have an agenda nor a track record.
Waache kutuambia ati Musalia alipromise hii. Wao watuambie Mheshimiwa Kalonzo alikuwa vice president. Atuonyeshe choo yenye alijenga na Bahol. Hakuna mtu anasema vile atainua maendeleo. Hawana sera, hawana agenda, wako rudderless.
The principals of the United Alternative Government are now accusing politicians allied to the government of organizing goons to terrorize Kenyans, including in churches. Now, speaking at St. Mary's Catholic Church in Kibabii, Kandui, where they attended a holy mass, the opposition leaders vowed to revisit the issue and take action against all those responsible if they form the government after next year's general elections.
The United Alternative Government, while attending a church service in Kandui, Bungoma County, accused the government of allegedly sponsoring and financing goons to harass and terrorize civilians.
Tell our senior police officers, we know 98% of you are opposed to goonism. 98% are complaining that Kipchumba Murkomen is too much, that you can no longer tell the difference between police and goons. Goons are using police vehicles to attack Kenyans.
DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua took issue with Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, accusing him of being unable to effectively manage the ministry and alleging that he is the mastermind behind goonism in the country.
Huyu Murkomen umeweka wizara ya Interior, atachoma nchi hii. Because Wakenya watafika pahali wakatae. Vile wamama niliona jana, as we go towards the elections, Kenyans will say no.
Na viongozi wetu wa usalama waelewe. Haya mambo mnaambiwa eti mnaenda kusumbua watu, unawezaje kuleta askari na tear gas kwa father? Hapa father anataka kuhubiri hapa, eti sasa wewe umeleta askari na tear gas pale. Wanakuja kupiga nani? Kwaya.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka echoed these sentiments, calling for sobriety and end to goonism, especially in churches.
Tukumbushane pia hatuwezi kukubali tabia ya kuleta uhasama, ghasia mahali patakatifu kama kanisa.
Lazima sisi tuangalie kama taifa tunataka kwenda wapi. Majukumu ni gani? Tukishajua majukumu ya rais ambaye anakuja 2027, ndio tuangaliana hapa tuseme ni nani anatoshana na hayo majukumu.
Kuna watu ambao wanaamka tu kazi yao ni kutafuta njia gani nyingine tunaweza kuumiza Wakenya. Ni kama zile shida tuko nazo zijatutosha.
The opposition leader vowing to revisit the attacks if they form government and ensure all perpetrators are brought to book.
Now, matters fuel. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, has announced the reduction of fuel prices in its latest monthly review, bringing down the cost of super petrol by 22 cents and diesel by 10 shillings per litre. Now, in line with the new changes, motorists in Nairobi will now pay 214.03 shillings for a litre of petrol and 222.86 shillings for diesel, effective today. And as John Kahiro now reports, kerosene prices remained unchanged in newly announced pump prices under the June-July pricing cycle, retailing at 191.38 shillings. Here's more.
It is a slight reprieve for Kenyans who have for months been grappling with the skyrocketing costs at the pump after the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, on Sunday announced a marginal reduction of prices. In its monthly review, EPRA said maximum pump prices for super petrol were reduced by 0.22 shillings per litre, while that of diesel will decrease by 10 shillings. The changes expected to take effect at midnight will now see a litre of petrol in Nairobi retail at 214.03 shillings, while that of diesel will go down to 222.86 shillings per litre for the period between June 15th to July 14th. In the review, however, the price of kerosene remain unmoved and will continue retailing at 191.38 shillings per litre.
With all due respect, we respect each one of us here. And that is what we want it to go out, so that to our members and to the nation, we did not agree in anything. They gave us 10 according to what they are going to have a conversation with EPRA. And we did state 35 up to 30.
Last month, President William Ruto had pledged a government intervention to stabilize the prices following a nationwide strike by matatu operators that disrupted transports and affected economic activities in various parts of the country.
Next pricing cycle, we are going to further reduce the price of diesel by a further 10 shillings for the June-July cycle, to help stabilize pump prices and provide additional relief.
And now let's get sporty for a moment. Tusker FC were crowned winners of the 2026 Football Kenya Federation Mozartbet Cup after defeating Police FC 2-1 during the entertaining final played at Kwale County Stadium in Kwale. Now, Tusker FC went ahead after 23 minutes through Ian Simiu's rasping shot struck from the edge of the 18-yard box. Now, police winners of the cup in 2014 leveled the matters through a well-taken free kick by left back Aboud Omar 3 minutes later. Ian Simiu grabbed his second goal of the match to hand Tusker 2-1 half-time lead. Now, despite police coming back in the second period, rejuvenated their attempts to find an equalizer were unfruitful as Tusker FC held on to clinch their fifth Mozartbet Cup and a first one since 2016. Now, following that win, Tusker FC were awarded 3 million shillings and will represent the country in CAF Confederations Cup next season, while Police FC received 2 million shillings for finishing second.
Simiyu anasema sijalala bado, anaipitisha katikati ya miguu ya Daniel Ogembo. Tusker wanarejea uongozini 2-1 kule kupita Waweru kama Kwale imerejesha, Julian Mete imerejesha, rudisha Tusker miaka 10 ya kutafuta, hatimaye Tusker wanarejea kimataifa kwa kushinda kombe la shirikisho, mabingwa wapya wa Mozartbet Cup 2025-26 Tusker.
Now, that's where we end for the news coverage for now. But just to remind you that Ivory Coast beat Ecuador 1-0. And as the African team, the first to win a game in this World Cup that is ongoing in Canada and, of course, Mexico and the United States of America. My name is Giverson Baina. GMK continues on the other side with Victor Olo. But before that, a very short commercial break.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday from 10 p.m. and a rerun every Tuesday from 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
All right. Good morning. Welcome back. It's now 7 a.m. Actually, 2 minutes past 7 a.m. Good morning. Welcome back to the program. Being a Monday, as usual, it gets exciting because we want to talk about politics and current affairs. How beautiful can that be? It was a fully charged weekend. We talked about football. Somebody lost, some people won, and that is the name of the game. That all depends on the tactics and the strategies that all the coaches and tacticians and the technical bench of different teams actually put to make sure that their teams play their best. That is exactly what also happens in politics. Reasons why I want to talk about the strategies and smart moves in our political arena today. My guests are already in studio. Introduce them shortly, but before then, if you're just joining us, my name is Victor Olo. All right, on the front page of the local dailies, before we get to the discussion, on this Daily Nation, rapists roam free as DCI hunt Gen Z. Rapists roam free as DCI hunt Gen Z. Is it a case of miscarriage of justice? 2 rape victims attacked 5 months apart in almost similar circumstances filed complaints at Theta Police Station in Juja, Kiambu, but their attackers are still free because detectives from the Serious Crimes Unit of the Directorate of Criminal Investigations are preoccupied with tracking down suspected planners of Gen Z protests that the government fears are set for later this month. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Still on the front page, Kangata joins Linda Mwananchi as opposition leaders condemn goons. That is on the front page. Yes, that happened yesterday when Linda Mwananchi visited Thika and Githurai. MPs lobbied to enact compromise finance bill. 120 billion shillings is what the bill, as published, seeks to raise in revenue. Very quickly, on the front page of the Star, tough economy, plunging small businesses into loan reliance. Survey indicates that sector employs over 80% of Kenyans. That is small businesses, SMEs. Opposition quotes Western and Central as Ruto dares his opponents. That is on the front page of the Star newspaper. There is some good news here again. there is some joy at MTRH medical history with its first ever liver surgery. Joy as MTRH celebrates medical history with its first ever liver surgery. Good move there. Okay. And finally, on the front page of the Standard, ID cards auction. ID cards auction. There are several personnel on the front page. I've got Interior Cabinet CS, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, Julius Bitok, former PS Immigration, and Bello Kipsang, PS Immigration, and finally Evelyn Chelogut, Director Central Immigration. And the Standard says that it's exposing a shadowy network through which foreign nationals from Somalia, Ethiopia, Uganda, and other neighboring countries are obtaining Kenyan identity cards for as low as 15,000 shillings. The probe reveals how individuals with questionable backgrounds have acquired the country's most sensitive documents with apparent ease. Yet, senior officials in the Department of Immigration and National Registration Bureau have remained silent, as has Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen. Who is behind the scheme? Who benefits? And what does it mean for national security and the 2027 general election? That is the question being raised by the Standard. Okay. Daniel Orogo, political and governance expert, finally is back after disappearing for decades.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Karibu sana. Can
Yeah.
you tell us where you've been?
Yeah, well, I've been around and taking some hoiters, and I think it's important that it's such a refreshing to be back to studio.
Even Jesus rested when he was tired. He rested.
Yeah, I mean, rest is necessary and very important.
Very important.
Especially when we're executing matters of national interest. Sometimes the body, the mind, and the soul requires that you take a little bit of rest and recharge. So it's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
And next to you is Christos Watimba, who is political analyst. Engineer, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you as well.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure for me.
Asante
to be
sana.
here.
And Peter Ndungu is also political analyst, the three wise men. Allow me to call you that. You saw this.
Good morning, Kenyans.
Karibu sana,
Thank you for giving me and us another opportunity to come here and have a healthy discussion. Thank you.
The keyword is healthy.
Yes.
Okay. So, gentlemen, here we are. Where do we start? Do you have your ID? All of you, do you have your IDs? So you're all safe?
Yeah.
Okay. Done. Tell us, where have you been? And you said that you've been handling matters of national interest.
You could have asked if Tukokadi, I mean, just obtaining an ID, it is just probably mandatory for Kenyans.
Right.
So I have been around in the campaigns, and like I have stated that I am in the race for the Member of Parliament for Kibra, Victor, for another term. And so the campaigns are taking a toll on myself, and that is required of the time. So you're asking me where I've been on the ground. Those who are saying skiza ground, probably we went back to listen to what the ground requires. Yeah, unapologetically. You asked me where I've been. Yeah.
And rewind again, DJ Select. we did hear that.
Yeah.
Kibra constituency is your base?
Yes. I am born and bred in Kibra. That is where for decades I've been uplifting the lives of Kibra people through different community projects and advocacy. So it is my home. It is where I've grew up, and it is where my civic and political activities have been grounded for a decade or so. So it is a pleasure to go back home and talk about matters of civic responsibility, obtaining of ID card that I have been pushing to. And I think maybe in another time we might find time to talk about the issues of the rights to acquire very important documents. You've alluded to that in your newspaper review, that a number of non-documented residents of Kenya are obtaining ID, but the young people are finding it difficult.
That's not the standard.
That's probably. I was very elated when you mentioned the difficulties that the newspaper has accounted to, where the ministry is not really fast-tracking the issues of ID. You know, ID is everything. If you talk about the profile, the issues of getting very vital documents of the national ID, people do not only understand the national ID is not only for voting.
Yeah.
I mean, Victor, it is your passport. It is your pass to so many things. Employment activities. It's for security. It's for travels. So there is a lot of things that are within the ID as an important, vital national document that one should obtain. So I think for now, politicians are just thinking maybe it is for obtaining the voter's card. It is beyond that. It is a lot of things that are obtained in that vital document that most of the Kenyans are finding it difficult to have right now. It is even your heredity to the citizenship of this country. If you don't have it, it means that you're not a resident of the Republic of Kenya who have attained the age to get the ID. So I think we should talk about it and probably find another platform to discuss what is the importance of obtaining of this very important critical document that we have.
Okay. You have that newspaper.
Yeah.
Peter.
Yes.
That's the standard. Yeah. You see that headline?
Yes, I see this headline that they are saying that ID card auction. I have not gone through the details of this story, but said and done is that it's not right if they are not following the right procedure. Though I know that every Kenyan who has been born in this country has a right to get an ID. But if they are going out of that way, then that one should be tamed. But also, from where I sit,
yes.
Sometimes, as you are aware, you are from the other side of the fourth estate. Some of the information which come out is very, very critical and very, very important for us to know that this is coming. But sometimes we have issues with some of the media houses because they come out very strong and with a lot of information which is critical and very important. What I can say from where I sit is that can the relevant body do what they are supposed to do? Can the relevant body who are in charge of whatever has been mentioned here implement and follow the law as it has been stated? I will not end by not saying that the last time we were with you here, we had a very healthy discussion concerning the fuel. And today I'm a proud Kenyan and a proud UDA member, Senate aspirant Kiabu County, saying that whatever we promised then, you remember that I was here that very, very, very tough day. It was just the strike was yesterday, you are here today.
Right.
And we had a very healthy discussion concerning the fuel. You see now, we are going towards the right direction. I've been accused many times that we are promising things which we are not giving to Kenyans. But today, yesterday, it was all out there that our president and our party leader, UDA, promised that he's going to reduce fuel with 10 shillings more. We were able to implement that. So we are going towards the right direction. That's why I always say here that this country belongs to all of us. Let us stop this thing of blaming each other. What you are supposed to do is join our hands and move forward as a country.
Okay. Crispus, maybe you can also get into that, but let's just jump into it. Gentlemen, we are seeing a lot of moves, and based on our discussion today, the strategies and moves that we are seeing ahead of 2027, the good thing that all of you have experience when it comes to political, moves in the country. How is it right now? Crispus, we didn't see that coming. Irungu Kangata now jumping ship to join the other side of Linda Mwananchi. That is one strategic move. Number two, we also how different camps split over the weekend. 3 days of the united opposition in Western Kenya, and now this other side, we also have Linda Mwananchi in Thika. I would argue that once you get into Thika and back to Githurai, you have already opened the gates into the Mount Kenya region. What do you make of this?
Well, I would like Kenyans to revisit the early 1990s, where Kenya was in a similar situation as today, where the political scenario was divided into three camps. And I'll equate every camp to the current camps we have. So I look at Linda Mwananchi as a camp equivalent to what we used to call the Young Turks.
Yes.
Led by the then James Orongo.
That is YK92?
Yes.
Right?
No. The
young Turks.
Young Turks of the Mother Karuas, the James Orengo, the Shikuku, you know, those people who are pushing for the second liberation. And you can see now we have Sifuna, we have Babu Owino,
yes.
We have now Faith Odhiambo, we have Kangata joining that part of the camp. So I feel like Orengo is remaking his liberation efforts back to Linda Mwananchi. Then you look at William Ruto. We can only equate him to the then administration of Moi, where the people who had power and they are doing whatever it takes to remain in power at whatever cost, whether it's both political or economic. Then we have the Kalonzos of this world, the Matiangis. These are the Kibakis of the then administration. People who are in the government, now they have left, but they have disagreed with the establishment, but they still want to seek power. So we have these three formations that are seeking to control the state infrastructure in Kenya. And if you remember 1997, those three camps went to the elections. And the then Moi president won. Although with a minority win, he will still remain as president. In 2027, if these three camps went to the elections, definitely William Ruto will be the leader of the first runoff. And most likely, if they go to the second runoff, he will definitely be able to win. So what is concerning many right now is what will be the decision of these three camps if two of them come together before the 2027 general election. And that is why you've seen now people have done their analysis and have realized, for example, the Kalonzo Rigathi camp has the control of the Mount Kenya vote. The Linda Mwananchi and the Ruto camp appear to control what was then Raila Odinga's base and now what was Ruto's base.
Yes.
So that is where now you look at which base in these two camps is in contention is Western Kenya. Because Luo Nyanza has already pledged his loyalty to William Ruto. North Rift is always obviously pledging his loyalty to William Ruto. But Western Kenya appears to be torn apart these three camps. But Linda Mwananchi and William Ruto appear to control the majority.
Is there anybody amongst the group, is there anybody who is comfortable?
Nobody is comfortable because if you look at the arithmetics, if any of the camps comes out first on the first runoff, it means they will easily be able to convince the rest of the nation to support them in the second runoff. So the margin of difference between one camp and the other in a first race is very minimal. So you need to be able to make sure the difference is very huge.
Yeah.
We're not talking about all of you getting 33%, because I believe most of those camps, that's where they are playing around between 25 and 30. So you need to increase that margin of difference between yourself and the other camp, so that by the time you go to the second race, you have the ability to convince the other camp that you have the numbers to bring on the table to win. So this is what is going to be the biggest conversation over the next 9 months, for which camps to come together. You don't be surprised even if William Ruto is able to form a coalition with one of those camps. That is a possibility. It is politics. There are no permanent enemies. There are no permanent friends. But those are things that we need to watch out and listen to the ground, observe what is happening, and pray that the best of the interest of Kenyans is upheld in terms of the general election.
Dan, your opening remarks, because clearly things are now becoming more apparent.
Well, I think it's interesting that we are making assertion that we are hearing ground, and to that extent, everyone is pulling towards a fitable coalition. At this particular moment, looking where each one of each other's interests align. I think the issue, we would be very, realistically speaking, we would be very vague to say that every of these political coalitions have anything to do with the interest of Mwananchi. I mean, politics is a permanent interest of individuals. It has never been about the citizens. That's the realistic bit of politics that we have in this country. And that's why people don't listen to manifesto. People are drawn towards theatrics and, you know, who can shout more and more and do this and this. I think that is the reality of politics. An ideal of politics is a different thing, Victor. But that as may be, I may want to disabuse the notion that as we speak, it would be very fatal to say that the central Kenya has unanimously say that in all their, you know, support are held towards the DCP or the opposition. It would be a political fatal mistake to assume, because we have seen 2 by-elections that has happened, and the UDA has sailed through against every odds. It would also be a political mistake. I've heard my colleagues saying that Luo Nyanza have given their votes or have unanimously, supported William Ruto. I am one of those people who probably my village is from there, and personally speaking, that is not my view. And to so many people. So it would be very difficult to make statements, you know, that we cannot really agree, or we cannot really surmountably say totally that that is the view of majority, or that is the view of everyone in that particular region. And that's why I've started by a disclaimer, by saying that we cannot agree that probably Central Kenya is totally behind DCP or opposition, or Luo Nyanza is totally behind, the broad-based government or no. We have had different views, and that's why I agree with you when you say that, you know, why are we seeing a big numbers of united opposition getting a large coverage in Western Kenya against every odds? Victor, that is something to be surprised about. In the background of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, in the background of the Speaker of the National Assembly, there is a lot of following in that region that are now looking at towards a move where Sifuna is heading that kind of political move. Right. It would be very also to say that we're just seeing a lot of political alignment and political shifting. And to one extent, I agree with one of my colleagues that it could be very difficult to say that no one can cross over to any tent. Politics is a game of possibilities, and everything shifts and everything changes. So I'm looking towards, what I'm seeing is a coalition of possibilities, is pushing towards a runoff. And this is there are possibilities that we are going to have it. Okay. And mark my words, that we are going to have it. That the united opposition that is composed of, Honorable, Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, Honorable Matiang'i, and the rest, have not really come to declare that they are going to unite with the Sifuna's camp. Even though you can see a lot of signs. A lot of signs. When Irungu Kang'ata says that I am joining this coalition because it's the only coalition that unites every tribe in this region, I'm marking his words. He says that when he joins Sifuna's coalition, he sees Luos, he sees Kikuyus, he sees everyone there. But then in his statement, he says that he is asking this coalition to reach out to who? To Honorable Gachagua. You remember those? You remember those statements are on record, right? So that's what I'm saying. You can see that the united opposition and Sifuna's camp are probably having a conversation underground to say that for right now we cannot unite, but everyone moves to strengthen their zones, so that we could have a discussion at the end. At the end, probably a pre-coalition or probably post. So I am looking towards, and I can confidently tell you as a political commentator and as an analyst, that no one is confidently going to say that we will have a 50+1 in the first election. Everyone is looking towards a coalition post. Post the election.
I will ask you the reason why, so that you can elaborate further. Why a runoff? Why that is the strategy?
It's difficult. It's difficult. The incumbent president cannot have it right now. All mathematics is not working. He can't have it.
Hold that. Incubate it. When you look at Peter, when Irungu Kang'ata jumped ship from UDA, he kept his cards under wraps. He did not want to, tell people where he was going to go next.
Yes.
We've seen Faith Odhiambo also joining the fold.
Yes.
What are we likely to see? Because when you talk of Irungu Kangata, what are we likely to see next? Because he said anaskiza ground, all right? And we all know how Mount Kenya votes.
Yes. Well, one thing I'll tell you is that during the last general election, as UDA, we were so much prepared to go to election without anybody. We were not seeing any coalition which was to come before the election. But something happened all of a sudden. Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula came. And we found under the former governor, the Speaker of Senate, and the other group came. So I'll tell you one thing, that in politics, one day is too much and is so big.
Yeah.
Things will happen here. And the coalition you are trying to say that the United Opposition and Leader Mwananchi might happen, it might happen the other way around. One of these groups might come to our side of UDA and have a coalition.
Which group?
One of them. One of these group might come. Anything is possible in politics, Victor.
Impossible.
Anything is possible. No, give me time, young man. I give you time. Allow me. Let me tell you. Anything is possible. But also, one thing I'll say is that as the UDA...
Are you quoting anybody? UDA? Is UDA?
As UDA...
Yeah. Who are you quoting?
First and foremost, we are prepared for the elections. And we are sure that we are going to win the election. But also I'm saying this, that anything is possible, and either of the people, even the United Opposition or even in Leader Mwananchi, can come and join hands with us. What do you mean, Victor? These things has happened.
I mean, it's not giving us the possibility.
Don't you remember, Victor? Let me remind you.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is, let's just be real.
What do you mean?
Not any. Let's just be open.
Yes.
Who amongst the two camps is most likely to come to the UDA? We are just analyzing openly.
Now,
Gachagua side?
No.
Linda Mwananchi?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, and anything in this country is possible. Because what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I have just given you an example. During the last general election, remember, Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula were so firm in Raida's camp.
Yeah.
But something happened. They came out, even the Kingi and the others came to our side, and we joined hands and we went to election together. So expect wonders. Those things you are not expecting that will happen, and people will join hands in a very in their own style. And that's why I'm telling you, us from where we sit as UDA, we are sure that we will have coalition with other Kenyans, and we are going to win this election in the first round.
No runoff.
No runoff.
That is this.
Wow. Let me tell you, for this country, up to where we are today, and what we are doing in this country as a UDA, Kenya Kwanza, we are sure that we will join hands with other Kenyans, and there will be no runoff. Yes, I can tell you.
So what are some of the ideological similarities does Linda Mwananchi and UDA have?
At the end of the day, Leader Mwananchi is a group, or they are political leaders who, at the bottom of their hearts, are willing to transform the lives of Kenyans. UDA, under the leadership of His Excellency William Ruto, at the bottom of our hearts, we are there to transform lives of Kenyans.
And so is United Opposition.
United Opposition are bitter about
This is
whatever happens.
why
No. Like Gachagua can tell you. Victor, let's be very honest. Gachagua is always bitter all the time because
So
he
he
was
doesn't
removed
have
from the
something to
deputy
change the lives of
presidency.
Kenyans.
No, what agenda has they ever told us that they are going to do in this country? They are clueless. They have never given us that we are going to do A, B, C, D. They have never. And that's where you see, even somebody like Kangata, when he feels that he is not comfortable in UDA, he cannot go to United Opposition. He went to Leader Mwananchi. Because Leader Mwananchi and UDA, at the end of the day, our interest is to transform the lives of Kenyans. The other people are bitter because this has never happened to me, I was here, so on and so forth. They don't really tell us what they are going to deliver to this country. So at the end of the day, the people who have the real interest of Kenyans is UDA. We are there, and people can see what we are doing. We are keeping our word. We are implementing our manifesto word by word. I don't have time to explain all the things we have done, but we have done so much. The things which are touching Mwananchi.
So Linda Mwananchi is who will join the other?
Obvious. Who is bigger than the other?
Okay.
Yeah, who is bigger than the other?
So are there secret talks or are there open talks that
I'm not in position to say that. I'm just having my personal views that who are likely people who can join hands.
Okay.
There are people who have the same ideas. The people who are ready to transform the lives of Kenyans. The other group is a group of people who are bitter because this happened to me, the other one was impeached the other day, so on and so forth.
Just a reminder that Linda Mwananchi, quote unquote, is a splinter group within ODM.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So then it means that the other side of ODM will also join hands with the broad-based coalition is going to go to up till 2027. So this is a tactic by ODM itself.
Precisely that. The whole ODM will be on our side. Remember, Linda Mwananchi is a faction of ODM. So our prayers and what we are working towards is to make sure that at the end of the day we are going to work together as one team so that we can be able to transform the lives of Kenyans together.
Director, we take a quick break, right?
Do you need a break?
We need a break. We'll be right back. Christmas, stay with us. Don't relax. Okay, stay with us. We'll be right back.
The FIFA World Cup 2026, hosted by the Triumvirate of Canada, Mexico and the United States of America, promises to be blissful. Explore the most exciting edition of the tournament to date as 48 teams from around the globe compete in 104 fixtures across 16 host cities. Dare to dream big as we celebrate culture, friendship, and more importantly, monetizing talent. At this first ever Tri-National World Cup from 11th of June to 19th of July 2026. Just like the formidable 10 African nations represented, be at the center of the FIFA World Cup 2026. 34 free-to-air matches, live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
All right, welcome back. So Dan told me to take a break. Definitely, I took. Yes, welcome back. Daniel Orogo, political and governance expert. Crispus Wathemba is also an engineer and also political analyst as well as Peter Ndungu, who is a political analyst. Okay, so Dan, you wanted to say something. Let me ask this way. There is imminent coalition formalization before 2027, pre or post. Which one basically works best? Pre or post-election?
I think it depends. It depends on the winning strategy of any political coalition or their mind to win. You saw what happened in 2013, post-2013 actually, when a number of parties were folded to have one Jubilee party. So many political parties went, asunder and folded their tents and joined. I think that has been that was a strategy for 2017 to avoid a lot of push and people pulling towards different directions. 2022, like what my colleague has alluded to, you saw that there was, different political Azimio, worked with a number of parties to come together. Kenya Kwanza equally, drew a lot of political parties. That's when Musalia and, Wetangula and a number of governors folded their camps to join in and form a Kenya Kwanza coalition to run against Azimio coalition. So I think that was a pre-election pact that worked for them or against them. What we are discussing now is with different optics, and how I wish that any politician would read the signs of times. A number of issues have changed, including the number of vote uptake from the young people through the voter registration drive dubbed Nikokadi, where millions of young people obtained their voter's card. And these are people who are coming in the ballot with grievances. Mark my words, with grievances. And some of them are saying that probably if the streets were not achieving the objective, then they would express that through the ballot. So I think that is one of the objectives, that is one of the dynamics that each and every political faction should be reading. Now, onto the hot issue, the hot potato of coalition building. And I had, my colleagues talking about the possibilities of who crosses over where and how.
Yes.
And I think we are discussing it over break and saying that what I have been seeing happen. In my queue, I was in the presidential campaign team for Musalia in 2022 as a young person, as the presidential campaign. And so I knew exactly the conversation that was happening post-crossover, even before. And that's why I'm saying you could read the mood of the times. If you use that analogy to analyze what could happen in 2027, then I think probably we are not raising the changes. So any coalition, any politician who is in a coalition, any politician who has served the regime, who knows what power is, according to my colleague Crispas was talking about as we were on break, is probably the one that can cross over, not these young thugs that you're seeing. So to disabuse this notion that the camp of Honorable Gachagua, the camp of Honorable Kalonzo and Eugene Wamalwa and the rest, or even Fred Matiang'i, cannot work with government, that is a political immature statement. In fact, that is what can happen. Because
the unthinkable.
The unthinkable can happen in this tent. And I can tell you, those heavyweights, political heavyweights, knows what to be in power means. Knows what to be in government means. All of them have been cabinet secretaries, right? All of them, most of those guys in those camp. When you look at this camp, few of them have been governors, senators, cabinet secretaries, even except Orengo, who's been, a number of these young thugs have not really been in government as technocrats, as cabinet secretaries. So it would be very immature to think that Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, if push come to shove, are not the ones that could go, or they are bitter, or probably their bitterness is to draw the attention of
would that really swayed the minds of the voters?
That would be the...
somebody would argue that he's only just one voter, but he has a constituency.
That's what I'm saying, is to draw the constituency intact to him, so that could be a bargaining chip. You know, sometimes it happens to be unthinkable. The things that you think that cannot happen is unthinkable. It can happen. So I think that is one notion that I just wanted to disabuse, that if there is any camp that can cross over, it is that camp, not these young thugs that you're seeing. Number two, let me also see this, that you've seen governors taking positions, and Irungu has been very strategic. This is a man that started as an MCA. This is a man that went to a senator. And this is a man that went to a governor. He and Honorable, I could point a few people who are politically conscious and very clever. Him and Honorable, the governor of Nairobi. You have seen their political, steps.
Yes.
They are always very strategic to know where they are going to be and where the voters are. So to that, I can tell you that he knows. He has his own calculations in the table. He has his numbers in the table, and he has his legacy on the table and knows his political future. So every direction he takes, he's one man that I look and really watch his political moods always. Because wherever he made that political moves, he is right. He knows where it is. He knows where the government is going to be. So I think for me, that is where, for now, and by the way, Victor, there are a number of political candidates, presidential candidates. I have once seen that Honorable Martha Karua has been on the table as well. I've once seen Honorable CJ Emeritus, who've gone out of the country luring votes and talking to voters, is on the table as well. So let not one lie to us. This is a long game of chess.
Okay.
And we might not know where it will lie. So probably I insist that no one has the capacity to obtain and to win in one voter's ballot, just one round. It is impossible. The numbers are not adding up.
Crispus, I want us to go back to 15th of October last year. So Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga bows out. Things dramatically changed, and what we are seeing right now began immediately. That happened in black and white. We are seeing factions in ODM. We are seeing opposition realignments and Linda Mwananchi factor also splitting from ODM. Although when you ask the ODM insiders, they say that ODM is intact. Fine. It seems that history is going to repeat itself come 2027. And why am I saying so? Dan has insistently said that the unthinkable might just happen. We never saw Raila Odinga shaking hands with Uhuru Kenyatta. The handshake that we talk about up till to date, we didn't see him having a coalition, broad-based government with President William Ruto. Here we are today until 2027. So should Kenyans just expect the unthinkable to be the norm after all then?
I mean, the history of Kenya can always tell us what we can expect in future. And we have always imagined that certain people we see in politics taking very strong stands, they will always remain that strong forever. We have seen people make U-turns that are unthinkable.
Yes.
And we have come to accept those U-turns and moved on as a country. Never did anybody imagine Raila doing handshake with Uhuru Kenyatta despite the acrimonious elections that we had gone through in 2017. No one would have imagined Ruto impeaching Gachagua despite the various statements he made saying he cannot do to his deputy what he was done for. So changes in politics in Kenya are things we need to be ready for. And what my colleague has said, that the unthinkable can happen, is very possible. Because if you look at the so-called united opposition or the alternative government coalition, whatever they are asking for is something Ruto can give them with one statement. He can say, let's go back to NHIF, let us go to Linda Mama, let us put more money in education, let us remove Murkomen as the interior CS, let me give you a post as the CS of education, let me remove the CS for treasury and do away with the taxes. It's very simple for William Ruto to say, this potato is so hot for me, I want to bring you guys to help me take care of this country, and I'll give you whatever you want, as long as you assure me that I'll be president of 2027 up to 2032. It's very simple.
Okay.
So the possibility of a U-turn from the Gachagua camp is very easy. And Gachagua will be told, as a part of the arrangement, we will work on your impeachment matter. So that in 2032, you'll have the possibility to run. And that's a boardroom discussion. It does not require Wanjiku and me to be consulted. And they will go to the media and they will convince Kenyans that this is the best interest for the country. And 6 months down the line, most of us will sing that tune and will agree. Because at the end of the day, our economic well-being will improve, fuel prices will come down, things will look very nice, the international community will say nice things about us, and we'll be very happy as a country.
What are you trying to say?
Because I want to remind you,
because
in 2002,
Wanjiku is listening.
In 2032, in 2002,
yes,
the Saitotis and the Kalonzos of this world were hell-bent on their position. But it took a last-minute decision by Raila Amolo Odinga to convince them that this is the only way out for them to get power. Despite being them aware that 70% of Kenyans didn't like Moi and Moi's candidate, they were still bent in a divided opposition. But it took a last-minute decision of someone to push them. So even this Rigathi Gachagua Kalonzo's arrangement, somebody will come and tell them, boys and girls, this is the only way. Because if we don't let a coalition with Ruto, this Linda Mwananchi may not help us. May even put this country in more chaos than we are in today.
So this is all about strategy and interest.
Strategy.
Okay, that's what I wanted you to tell me.
And that is actually, I just wanted briefly, that is tested on the recent court ruling. Exactly what Crispus is talking about. Never in history of any judicial process have we had judiciary exonerating itself on pronouncing matters of the Constitution and adopting the political doctrine issues in the ruling. Never in history have you heard that a court, instead of annulling election, an impeachment process that went through a house, decided to award. Victor, when you are awarded damages, it means that you are exonerated. Like somebody ruled that your rights were violated. So if you are awarded 50 million, it seems that the judiciary is acknowledging that the process in itself was flawed. So if you award someone 50 million, and then, but you are not specific that you are barring this person to run, for any elective positions in future, you are putting the country for a political discussion. And I agree with what Crispus is saying. So we are testing. There is a test to whether, can I give you this so that I hear how you respond to it?
Yes.
So I think there's so many things that as Mwananchi we should, there is a lot that is happening, that we should be looking at.
Peter?
Yes.
The smart moves are the strategies. You people, you just... Okay, that's why I called you the three wise men. The thing is, we are also trying to see the voter outreach. Okay?
Yes.
Western Kenya has become, quote unquote, that beautiful lady Dan would be running after to court.
Yes.
And with 2.6 million votes, let's paint a picture. We have Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, Kakamega, Vihiga, and Busia, 5 counties.
5 counties.
It is only amongst the 5 counties which has always given the opposition or the government a good, clean block of votes.
Yes.
That is Busia. Yes. Bungoma County. What are you trying to say? Because now we are seeing even the speaker has gone out. Most of the time he's there. We are seeing the likes of Farouk Kibet. We've seen a number of brigades from that side camping in Western region. Okay? I want you to answer this question. What is going to be the general outcome? There is no clear winner in 2027. Mount Kenya is, as somebody would say, is gone. Crispus said that Nyanza is in the box. Dan says no. So the beautiful lady is here.
Yes, one thing I would like to agree with the engineer here is that anything is possible in this political space.
Right.
You remember the Kibaki's first term election, the likes of the late Kamotho joined hands with Kina Rairas and Kibaki's. That was not expected at all. So anything is possible in this country. And from where we sit as UDA, we are ready for anybody. And we are working towards that in all the camps, because at the end of the day, the most important thing as far as 2027 is concerned is for us to win election and continue delivering to Kenyans. Simple and clear. And the same thing is applying to all the other coalitions. And everybody at the end of the day is asking him or herself, I need to be, for example, let me use the quotes the Honorable Senate for Siaya, Oburu, saying that he needs to be in power. Everybody needs to be in power at the end of the day. So what is the easiest route for me to be in that table? Because let me tell you, the most important thing for me, engineer here and him, is that at the end of the day, one, as much as you want to serve the great county of Kiambu as a senator, I also want to belong to a wing which is in power. So us as UDA, we are working towards that. And we are more than, and that's why I can quote that last weekend you saw His Excellency the President was in Western Kenya, and the other worthy competitor also were in Western Kenya. And everybody is trying to convince the 5 counties. You saw the President saying that us as UDA, we have given the five counties 100 billion for affordable housing, among others. So everybody, what you should expect going forward is that if each and every coalition will be using their own strategies to make sure that they owe these votes. Western Kenya for the longest has never delivered the whole amount of votes to one coalition, because we saw it even during Moi's time, we saw it during the Kibaki's time, we saw it during Uhuru's time, we even saw it during the Kenya Kwanza. You remember even the William Ruto got his share there. Yeah. And through the Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, and even if they were there, no matter how powerful they are, the community doesn't deliver all their votes in the same basket. So what everybody is looking at is at least to get half or even slightly higher than half. Because you agree that Western is very difficult for them to put their votes in the same basket. Because each and every sub-tribe has their own way and interest. And they have their own reader. You might assume that Musalia is their reader. No, Musalia has his own sub-tribe. Wetangula and the others. Everybody has their own rights. That when I start from here in Kakamega, then these are my people. When I stand here at Bigoma, these are my people. So what we are expecting, and going forward, everybody will be going out there. And let me tell you, even Mount Kenya region is not gone. We are also, because at the end of the day, we want to be in government. And we want somebody who will take us there. And from where I stand, I feel that maybe UDA is the best place where I stand myself. I feel that this is the right track. This is where we should be, because we want to transform the lives of our people. Then the other person, on the other hand, feel that on this camp, this is where I'm comfortable. So the time is there. For the next 9 months, as engineer stated earlier, we will be going out there. Like yesterday, in one of the Kiambu County there, as I was going to look for votes, there's one of our senior chief who rested, may God rest his soul in eternal peace, Senior Chief Bogu Amutura. Accidentally, we met with the leader of majority. And we were echoing the same sentiment, because now this is a very, very critical time where even you as a person, me as Peter, as much as I'm looking for UDA, I'm also looking for my own votes. Because at the end of the day, I need to be the same government and I need my party to be in power. So this is a very, very critical moment for every one of us. The players in political arena. This is a very critical time, and people are making their moves. You saw Kangata, what he did. He believed that whatever he did was the right move. You saw Orengo, what he has done. He believed that is what is right for him. You saw Akinawanga, what they have done. They believe that is... You saw what me, myself, I have done. I'm studying in Mount Kenya region with the UDA Senate seat, Kiambu County. I believe that's the right move. So, in the next 9 months, we have to work extra hard to achieve our goals.
Okay. Dan, message discipline is quite important. When making your political moves and strategy, what message do we have from Leader Mwananchi, United Opposition, and the ruling coalition?
I think it's clear, and also the message that we have from the Kenya Kwanza administration.
Right.
So I think it could be quite interesting. So I see, for Linda Mwananchi, I see a generation that is, young generation that is rising.
From their body language and their moves.
Yeah, it is a coded message to, to expose the grievances. Is to appeal to young people. Because when somebody says Mimi ni Sifuna and everyone identifies with the movement, they are saying that they embody, and normally is, you've seen Sifuna moving with the t-shirts branded Raila. Yeah. There's always Raila's image wherever he walks to. And for him is a carrier of legacy. For him, he is saying that he identifies with the man who actually mentors him. For him, he is actually communicating that is the right wing of ODM. That is where Baba would have been. And that is why he moves around. And
and why is that t-shirt important?
I mean, what does it see? Because when people see, they see Raila's image.
It's a constant reminder.
It's a constant reminder that for him, because you're asking me about political messaging, for him it has been very constant with the Kenyan flag and with Raila's t-shirts. That is a very, very important statement to young people, and especially people who believed on the ideals of
And not just a t-shirt,
Raila.
it's a white t-shirt.
It's a white one with Raila's image.
Yeah.
You saw that image that was there when he passed on. So I think for him and the rest, who I hope that the rest that is in that camp, believes what Sifuna is always saying that he believes in. That for him was a legacy. He keeps saying that nobody knew Baba than him. I think he keeps on saying this, it's on record, that he knows what Mzee really wanted and where he could have been. So I think that is a message for him, and for Linda Mwananchi being the stalwart and Orengo's stamp of authority. For him, Orengo is the stamp of authority to legitimize that particular process, Victor. So for them, I think is a movement of continuation of legacy, is a movement of a generational shift. Now, for Wanga's camp is definitely to retain, the status quo for them, and having Oburu on his camp, and they deal that this is where Raila is. This is where the family, the family's continuation, the hereditary politics of Mzee's, wish. So that is why I agree that you could actually see an ODM that is communicating different things. An ODM, a continuation of a generational legacy.
Yes.
And an ODM of a status quo. For Wanga and Oburu's camp this is where Raila wanted us to be. This is the camp where he left us and to be. But I think for the united opposition, it's quite clear for them that they are actually technocrats and cabinet secretaries and people who served the government before, who believes and who knows what it takes in public service, who knows what it takes to run a government, because they have been with experiences before. Theirs might not be appealing to young people, and this is what I keep on saying. These are people who are over 50 years old, and when young people are looking at them, they are saying, what is the difference of Rigathi and Kalonzo with Ruto? What could be the difference? It's difficult for young people to identify what is the difference of a united opposition with the current government.
As you continue that,
so I think, and that's why I said, Victor.
Just a minute. As you continue that, which party or which wing is a decoy party here?
A decoy party?
Right. Or wing?
It's difficult for me to understand, because I think the generation is for them to, everyone, and I agree with what the senator was talking about. Everyone for them is a strategy. What works? What is befitting that would draw a constituency of voters towards the ballot? And that is why I summed up by saying, I foresee a conversation that will unveil after the election, when we will have that no one has reached the 50 plus 1%. There is a possibility. There is a possibility, and you've seen in a lot of simulations, they are taking one person from united opposition and putting them together with Sifuna's camp. You saw posters of Kalonzo and Sifuna recently. So there's a testing. There's a testing of what works, what camp can people identify with. And the issue is, when you put Sifuna and Kalonzo, where do you leave Matiang'i? All right? Now with the ruling, and the government has done something very interesting to use the judiciary to put up, to spring a span on the wire. That now, regarding Gachagua, there's a possibility, because if he's awarded 50 million, then the court says that probably we do not see anything that bars you from running. So that field is muddy, because Rigathi Swing is saying that there's a possibility of him also going, because the court did not find any fault on him by awarding him. So I think it's a murky waters as we move by. And here is Karua, here is Maraga, here is Jimmy Wanjigi. Look at it from that point.
Wow. Okay. Crispus, look, again, let's come back to 2032. 2027 and 2032. Western is being told, Fanya hivi 2032, you're going to get this. Politics is all about keeping the faith and keep giving them that hope. Do you think this purchase is working?
I think one thing that is very clear from the arithmetics that have come, even all the polls that have been done over the last few months, is that clearly the Western Kenya vote is very critical in making the next president of the Republic of Kenya. None of the frontrunners have the ability to make themselves president without forming a coalition with the Western Kenya bloc. Because these other blocs, they cannot guarantee you power. William Ruto right now has North Rift, Luo Nyanza, and the tyranny of minorities, the small communities that come together and are aligned with him. Then we have Kalonzo, Rigathi, Matiang'i, the cousins coming together with their so-called maybe 5 million, 6 million votes. Then we have Linda Mwananchi. In the 2022 elections, over 8 million young people never voted. And there's somebody who is required this time around to convince these young people that they must vote. And the only person who has demonstrated that ability is Sifuna, through the Linda Mwananchi. And that is a very important political player in the 2027 election to make sure that the young people show up to vote. If they don't show up to vote, William Ruto or the other side will have the game at their hand to win. So Sifuna is very important because he cuts a hole across the country in terms of mobilizing young people, regardless of tribe. And number two, he also has a strong influence in Western Kenya. So in addition to him bringing the young people and bringing Western Kenya to the table, not 100%, but a sizable block of Western Kenya, he is able to negotiate for a good place. And that's why it's most likely that whatever coalition will go, whether if it's a two-horse race, the running mate will be from Western Kenya, which now assures Western Kenya of a possibility of running for president in 2032. Yes. So if that is promised and is a message that is delivered to the masses of Western Kenya, then we can be assured that Western Kenya has its place in the presidency beyond 2032.
Okay. Peter, I'm trying to wrap my hand around this. We are talking about gentlemen here. Dan also talked about Martha Karua. We are not seeing our good ladies putting themselves in the ring.
You know, sometimes history teaches a lot of things, and sometimes history repeats itself. You remember last general election, Martha Karua was running mate for the late Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And as far as the ladies of this country is concerned, let's talk about that voting bloc. We did not feel it, honestly speaking. Because if that voting bloc supported her, then things could have been different. You saw even at her home place there at Kirinyaga, there was no support at all. So that line doesn't add up as far as politics is concerned.
The reason why I asked that question is now that there is another constituency of voters left behind. They are not at the forefront. But now the winning team or the most strategic campaigner or candidate will go back to them. That's why I brought that. We don't have strong female candidates running for that position. I don't know where the likes of Razlin went to.
Now, one thing which will happen, and that's what I have just stated here, is that we might not be able to specifically say today that this coalition or the other coalition is going to win this election. It's too early. Because all what I know is that among the three political what do you like call them? Camps. Everybody is working very hard. Me, I can confirm that from where I stand at UDA. I just confirmed to you that we just met with majority leader somewhere, which was not even planned. Me, I was working, he was working. We are trying to talk to the people, and I know the same thing is happening even to all the other camps. So it's too early to say that this coalition or the other will win. But from where I stand, me, myself, I'll still campaign and hope and pray that may my camp, the UDA, win this election. But also, we are open to coalition with everybody, anybody. Maybe the Leader Mwananchi is still welcome, and the other United Opposition is still welcome. Because at the end of the day, as I have told you, the most important thing as far as these politics are concerned, even our regions are concerned, no, I am sure that we don't have any region in this country which want to be in opposition. That's what I can assure you. Because at the end of the day, when you're in government, there are so many benefits which you reap from the government. Today, as a result of Kiambu County being in government, we are enjoying so much development. And we will not like a situation whereby tomorrow we are going to be in opposition. That's why I'm telling you, the way the arithmetics are happening, you might be so surprised that people are ready to come into table and agree and have a winning formula. And at the end of the day, I'm so sure with the history and whatever you have seen from Dr. William Ruto, I know he's working on a strategy whereby he's going to work with other Kenyans and retain this power until 2032.
Between now and December, what are you predicting?
Between now and December, we might not have a lot of moving from here to here. The movement will start
by what you're seeing right now.
Okay, remember, some of these members of parliament and members of Senate, they are somehow handicapped because they can't be able to move like 100%. You saw the other day, the senator for Nyandarua, Medhu, was pronounced as Secretary General for DCP, but he can't take over. His name cannot be taken to register a political party. So also what I'm expecting right now is that there'll be a lot of shift. You saw what Kangata did yesterday. We are expecting so many shifts from whichever side to move from this to the other.
Okay, let's go step by step, and I'll come to the gentleman. So what I'd like to see when it comes to Mount Kenya, for example, let's start with that.
Mount Kenya region, we are expecting some shift from UDA to the other side, to the other camp. We are also expecting other people from the DSP and the Jubilee to come to UD. So we are expecting a lot of crisscrossing. I'll call them crisscrossing. Because you saw even Nyandarua the other day, the people who are very, 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 very vocal as far as DCP is concerned, today they are campaigning with UDA. The other people who are very, very vocal on the side of UDA, today they are campaigning with Jubilee and the DCP of Karau. So I'm expecting a lot of crisscrossing. People who feel that I'm not comfortable here are ready to go this way. The other people who feel that they are not comfortable. So crisscrossing will be there in Mount Kenya region. Yes, expecting it in a very big way.
Crispus, between now and December, are you crisscrossing?
No, me, I'm at UDA, Kenya Kwanza. I'm comfortable here. I have done all my okay, a wise man keep on changing his or her mind. But when I do my mathematics, up to now, I'm still firm in UDA.
So you're, okay. I want to say something, but it's okay. So what are you trying to see between now and December? Because once December we hit January 1st, it's all turbo on.
You see, for anybody to win the election of 2027, there are two things they must have. They must have the numbers and the resources. So if you look at the camp for William Ruto, they have the resources and a substantial number of votes, given the state machinery that he controls at the moment. When you go to Linda Mwananchi, they have the numbers, but they have not come out strongly to show Kenyans who is backing them in terms of resources. And that's the many questions Kenyans are asking. These people might be easily bought because they don't have the resources. Then we go to the Kalonzos and the Matiangis of this world. These are people who come with very good skills in terms of running government. From the Matiangis of this world and the Kalonzos of this world, who have been in the system for a very long time. So they know how to, the machinery of government operates. And they also have the ability to mobilize resources. They have friends in good places to mobilize resources. The only challenge they have is that the numbers that we perceive them to have are not numbers that you can really hold on to. These are numbers that can be swayed here and there. So therefore, the possibility of a coalition with another camp is very important to them. They are the ones who are actually looking for a camp to work with, because they have a position where, yes, we can be able to run government, we can bring resources, but we don't have the numbers. We don't even have the appeal to the masses that can make people wake up and vote. So this is a question.
Who has the Gen Z? Who has the Gen Z in mind?
The person with the Gen Z obviously is Sifuna. Okay, he is able to move that group of people to vote. Not even William Ruto at the moment can be able to move Gen Zs to vote. Not even Rigathi Gachagua or Matiang'i, but Sifuna can be able to do that. What Sifuna lacks is the resources and the skills. Once he has power, the ability to run government. He is not backed by people we can say, now if I give him this docket, they'll be able to do the following. So the question is, what kind of arrangement can we have in terms of the government of a coalition? For example, if we say Kalonzo is president and Sifuna is deputy president, where do you put Matiang'i? Where do you put Mother Karua? Where do you put Rigathi Gachagua? So that arrangement, how it will be crafted, will determine that kind of a coalition. If it comes to Ruto, if he brings Kalonzo in power, where does he place Matiang'i? Where does he place Mother Karua? In that arrangement, where does he place Rigathi Gachagua?
Interesting.
Because that kind of formation will have to be convincing to Kenyans to be able to say that we are able to work with these people.
Thank you.
Who will lose, for example, in Ruto's coalition with others? Who will lose? If Kindiki loses in this coalition, and there is no Central Kenya person in his deputy, the possibility of Central Kenya coming to Ruto might be challenged.
Thank you.
Are you understanding?
Thank you. My director says that time is up. Dan, we know how we do this. In 30 seconds, I know. Kindly.
All right. The by-election in Old Kalau, it's an interesting by-election to watch because that would determine a lot of things again. So we are looking towards if the DCP loses this by-election again,
that's it.
Then that's it. The optics. If for the first time, if they're going to win, then there is a sigh of relief that indeed the party is gearing itself. I see a lot of political shiftings, of course. There'll be a lot of political concentration in 3 main regions: Luo Nyanza, Central Kenya, and Western. These are, you are going to see a lot of concentration of politics along them. But let me condemn the issue of Goonism, because we've seen this happening a lot of time. So I am here to just say that we need an open country, and the Honorable CJ Maraga is going to give a State of the Nation address tomorrow at Fungamano.
Thank you.
So I think it could be quite interesting to invite all of us to listen to. He's gone in the 43 counties, but I think he now wants to tell the nation what he learned. So Victor,
thank you.
Everyone is invited to listen to that address.
Asante sana. All right, Daniel Orogo, wish you all the best. And Kibra people, he's here.
Sure.
We need to remind you, he's here. Asante sana. He's been here with us for a very long time. All the best. Crispus Othimba, asante sana. He's an analyst and a governance expert, as well as Peter Ndungu. We all wish you the best in Kiambu County. Go for it. That's where men are.
I tell you that we believe in results and progress.
Thank you.
That is the Kenya Kwanza government.
Asante.
Let's support it and
when we get
continue
there,
to
make sure
deliver.
you work for us.
Yes, we will, definitely.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. A quick wrap. The game ended today. Sweden beat Tunisia 5-1. Sweden beat Tunisia 5-1. Do you know who scored? 59th minute? My namesake, Victor Yokeris, Arsenal. Have a good morning.
Are you ready for the next big thing in tech? Well, we'll spotlight Kenya's brightest young minds, game-changing startups, and breakthrough technology that are shaping our future. From AI and robotics to sustainable futures, we bring you the stories behind the scenes. KBC Channel 1. Remember, tech starts here.
Pindi tunapowasha vifaa vyetu tunapata fursa ya kutangamana na wasikilizaji wetu.
Karibu sana thĩinĩ wa tabarĩra ya Rwiga.
Tunapeperusha utangazaji uliobobea katika habari,
nĩ ũndũ wa macio na mangĩ maingĩ,
burudani,
haha nĩ harĩa tũkoragwo tũkĩigua nyĩmbo mwaki nyĩmbo hota
na hamasisho la kiroho. Usiachwe nyuma. Jiunge nasi kwa safari ya kufana katika 99.5 FM. Shoro FM.
Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. My name is Achola Simon and this is the Western Spectrum, a program that comes to you every Monday, 8 to 9 a.m., discussing issues that affect people from this part of the country and to a large extent, of course, the entire country. And today, we are joining the rest of the world in celebrating or casting that spotlight on mental health amongst men in this month of June. And we've decided that we'll be looking at the mental issues that journalists go through in this country. And of course, on our set, we have Kevin Omolo, who is the chair person of Correspondent Association of Kenya, the Nyanza chapter, but we also have Rashidi Oudia, who is a journalist with the Nation Media Group, but also the chair of the Kisumu Journalist Network. Of course, the two are the well-suited persons in this region to actually tell us exactly what journalists are going through. And of course, I will pretend that I'm not on their side, so then I can actually get as much information as we can. Welcome, Kevin and Rashidi. Kevin, let's go straight into it. 6 out of 10 journalists in this country are experiencing mental health-related issues. This must be a very punishing career.
Sure. Probably, like you've said, I'm Kevin Omolo. I'm a journalist, managing editor for Lake Region Bulletin, but also the chair of Kenya Correspondents Association in Nyanza. So, getting it into perspective, from the Kenya Correspondents Association perspective, we refer to it as psychosocial well-being because of the stigma that is associated with the word mental health. Because when you talk about mental, this guy is mental, people think he's insane, he's mad and all that. So I think it starts from that. And getting back into this number that you're talking about, it is true that the kind of work that we do as journalists is a very traumatizing job because of the circumstances that we find ourselves in. So I would agree with that research, the survey. I think it was done by the MCK. Yes, last year, talking about around 68% of journalists facing mental health issues. And even around 80% of journalists know another journalist who is struggling with mental health. So generally, it's about the kind of work we do, and I think we can go deep into it later.
As we proceed.
Yeah.
Rashidi, such a grim picture when you look at it, and of course the expectations that is actually placed on our back by the communities, members of the public, and of course each and every stakeholder in terms of just passing that information around. How then do we navigate through all these problems so that then we remain non-partisan?
Talking about the data, by the research by Media Council of Kenya, I saw even a more troubling that almost at least 68 don't even know they're going through mental health. And that is, I think, even a heavier burden to carry now that you expect or there is high expectation from people around. I remember there was a time during the COVID-19 when we were doing these stories. Of course, COVID-19 was a strange being to everybody. We were expected to understand everything, how to disseminate such information. And I remember when I think there was a donation being given to some people who are vulnerable. And I remember us journalists talking about, hey, hata tujui tunaenda nyumbani aje, don't have some, yet you're going to cover the donations. People are being given maize flour, wheat flour, cooking oil. So sometimes it's difficult, but we try to encourage members to at least, when you're going through something, talk about it so that it's be easier when you're at work, you concentrate at work. But it's not that easy. That, for instance, the example I've given you, you don't have anything to go with at home, yet you are covering people who are at least going to get something. And you can't raise it, you can't solicit for that, all that. So sometimes it really disturbs us, but we try to navigate through this particular.
Actually, you're right. And not just something to carry home. Even putting you in a place where, for instance, you are in a position to actually bring out that story perfectly. For instance, let's talk about COVID-19. We remember actually asking the professor, the governor of Kisumu County, Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, that you look at the persons that are actually supposed to be vaccinated first. Journalists are not there. People that are actually supposed to get the masks first, journalists are not there. Then, and we are constantly put in the front line to actually cover these stories. So it means the society must actually up their game.
Like just you pointed out, many times we are an afterthought to these particular organizations or politicians or individuals. It's like media. I remember even when you're doing introductions, even in such conferences that we have, we thank Mheshimiwa for coming. We thank this organization, and then an afterthought. Oh, the media pia asante. So sometimes it puts us in a way that we have to hide these particular feelings within us just to do our work. But back at home, when you now see it yourself, all these things come. That's where mental health issues come in. And you have to shelve this every single day that you go to work and all this. So the society is also to blame. They are blind to our plight in a way. And this must also be handled well if we also come out and talk, like the forum you've given us. We say what we're going through so that our society even knows that at least to napatia pressure, the media giving a lot of pressure, but they are also going through such a thing, yes.
Is it because, I mean, we have given ourselves this sort of a superhuman being stature that people tend to look at us as people, one, who will never get into accidents, who will never get diseases, who will never get sick, who can never go broke, and can actually access each and every office in this land if they wanted to?
That is partly contributing into it. And if you look at journalism, the moment you get into the newsroom, you are told this is passion. So it's like you leave any other thing out there and follow your passion. And sometimes you find yourself forgetting yourself. And when you forget yourself and you get yourself into mental health issues, nobody understands how you got yourself there. But I want to bring it back to how it started, especially with journalists. Kenya Correspondents Association, for example, I want to believe it is one of the media organizations that started working around psychosocial awareness in 2007, 2008, post-election violence. And they even produced a book called Healing the Messenger. Because when you are talking about psychosocial support, journalists were not considered as key victims. Yet, when these traumatic experiences take place, we are the first to be there. And you are expected to report as it is. So it means you have to be at the scene. So what happens is that many media organizations, I don't think there is any in Kenya that could be having a special department that is handling issues to do with psychosocial.
And that actually was my next question, just before you continue. Has it also contributed to the fact that, of course, looking to a broader perspective in terms of the shrinking revenue streams for media houses, coupled with other, of course, management issues and all the challenges that face media houses now, does it contribute to the bigger problem that is, one, we don't have special departments, don't have personnel, and we just don't have that we are withhold in terms of how we can actually deal with this problem, yet we are the people actually telling people what to do day in, day out?
No, I don't. Shrinking revenue is a big contributor, because when you talk about psychosocial awareness, it doesn't require so much resources. It just requires a little bit of knowledge of you, understanding yourself, understanding your environment, knowing what triggers you and how you can avoid them. So I don't think the issue of shrinking revenue is a huge factor, even though it is a factor, but it's not a huge factor. What can be done? Like I said at Kenya Correspondent.
Kevin, we have five journalists in newsroom. For instance, in Kisumu here, we have 2 journalists, right? And you're expected to cover, like in my office, you're expected to cover politics, accidents, you're supposed to cover crime, you are supposed to cover human interest stories, and basically anything that comes around from this region, right? If you're telling your boss that I am not feeling my usual self in terms of doing this assignment that is actually given, I mean, is he going to tell you to go home? Is he going to allow you time to actually seek psychosocial support? Is he going to tell you that I need that story? And you've been an editor in this region, right? And I know what editors take, I mean, journalists through in terms of meeting deadlines. Is it not a major issue in terms of saying that organizations cannot employ enough, and since we don't have enough personnel, so then I will follow Rashidi through each and every corner to ensure that he actually delivers?
I think, give an example. Yes. When I was a field reporter, I had this colleague that was assigned a story that he felt was against his faith, and he told the editor to the face that this is against my faith, and I cannot do this story. And I was saying, it's all about self-awareness. If we can have the boundaries, our own boundaries, it can be done. Because sometimes the editors take advantage because they know you are this vulnerable person who don't understand their boundaries, don't know what to do, and it can be tossed around. Because if it happens that you fail to deliver in your next assignment, they would not understand that it could be an issue of mental health. You see? They'll say you're underperforming, and at the end of the year, you're out. You're out of the system.
If I may chip in,
yes.
Journalists should be aware that I think you should be aware of your rights, because I remember there's a time I told my editor, I'm conflicted in this story. I cannot go for this story because it was a story involving family. Family in the broad, Luo community, we are very broad, the family. Everybody's a relative. But that one was a close one. Say you are conflicted, you cannot go and cover that story. Tell your editor you are not in the right state of mind to cover this story. But the biggest issue is, especially for men, journalists who are men, there's this toughness syndrome from editors that Mandamano, let Achola go. Rashidi should go for these easy, dangerous stories. The other person should not go. So Rashidi is exposed to these violent assignments every now and then. Yet we get a number where just find stories, do interviews through the phone and all that. You are exposing one particular journalist to these risks throughout. And Kabla, before even he recovers from the past incident, you're sent for a defilement story, a rape story, so it builds up. And you mentioned it. There's a time as journalists you feel numb. You don't have emotions. Some people, it's even affecting some of our relationship because you don't show emotions because of what you've gone through these assignments on and on and on. So at least our editors should also listen to us, but like Kevin said, we should have that awareness, individual awareness ourselves, to tell the editor, hey, I've gone to these assignments more than even 3 times. Let me break, let somebody be assigned to this particular, not that Rashid in your starring, you have to go for these mandamanos and all that. Yes.
We have associations that are actually representing journalists. Different cadres, right? The Correspondent Association of Kenya, Kenya Journalist, Kisumu Journalist Network. We have Kenya Union of Journalists, and of course, Communication Workers Union. Is it time that we pushed harder in terms of ensuring that, one, there's a special desk that will take care of journalists, and 2, also, the working environment of journalists in this country can actually improve? Because, I mean, the issue of salaries is something that we can discuss until, I mean, the next 10 years, right? Is it time that we actually pushed for better working environment and conditions for the journalists in this country?
Actually, what this has pushed for, I just think we need to change strategy and be more deliberate.
Change to what now?
More deliberate, especially when facing editors. I think the voices that have been shut down mostly are usually the correspondents on in working in the regions. Because I know my media house, National Media House, has a guidance and counseling department, but that alone is not enough, because guidance and counseling mostly needs that personal approach. When you say, I talk to a counselor through the phone, you don't feel that physical touch that you can open up and all that. So more media houses should invest in this. We should have more departments, and focus should be on the regions. Journalists, the regions go through a lot. I know Kevin has elaborated on this. We go through a lot. So the media should be deliberate in actually establishing this department, psychosocial department. Not only guidance and counseling is enough. And then secondly, the media houses should create more, avenues or forums where journalists or within the media houses come together for activities just beyond the newsrooms. These activities make, people interact easily, and we open up, because speaking or just talking about an issue that is disturbing you is one step in handling this.
Yes. Kevin, you have something to add?
Probably this. If you look at the media houses, like you said, we have the aspect of shrinking revenue. So we may not have well-established departments that can handle this. But then they can train champions within the staff that they have. We've seen this with the occupational health and safety, and many organizations are having this, where you have your staff trained so that they can understand, they can identify issues around psychosocial support within the staff and help build it. At Kenya Correspondent Association, we have a program called Holistic Safety. So holistic safety comes in 3 strands, such that you understand your safety in terms of physical safety, in terms of digital safety, and in terms of psychosocial safety. And this program, we try to ensure that anytime we have a training, capacity building of members, then we are able to bring in the aspect of all these strands, because they intertwine. When you are targeted in a mandamano, you are likely not to find yourself easy attending the next mandamano, and you are not likely to deliver because you are impacted psychosocially. So when these associations can be strengthened, because like Kenya Correspondent Association, we work with a number of partners. If this can be strengthened so that they can be able to improve on the kind of work they do and target more journalists, at least we can have more journalists having this knowledge.
Great. Of course, strengthening capacity, strengthening not just for the associations but also journalists is something that will be discussed just right after this break.
The Salaries and Remuneration Commission, in collaboration with stakeholders, will host the National Productivity and Performance Conference to be held from 17 to 19 June 2026 at the Kenya School of Government in Nairobi under the theme Productivity for Fiscal Sustainability and Efficient Service Delivery. The conference will set the direction for a future where Kenya's public service is productive, efficient, and fiscally sustainable.
The FIFA World Cup 2026, hosted by the Triumvirate of Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America, promises to be blissful. Explore the most exciting edition of the tournament to date as 48 teams from around the globe compete in 104 fixtures across 16 host cities. Dare to dream big as we celebrate culture, friendship, and more importantly, monetizing talent at this first ever Tri-National World Cup from 11th of June to 19th of July 2026. Just like the formidable 10 African nations represented, be at the center of the FIFA World Cup 2026. 34 free-to-air matches, live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Welcome back. We are still discussing issues of mental health. Kevin insists that we must look at it from the perspective of psychosocial issues, support, and that is what we'll do. And just before we went for the short break, we were actually discussing strengthening capacities of organizations and associations that actually deal with journalists, but also insist strengthening the capacity of journalists so then they can actually dispense their work to the best of their ability. Kevin, just before we cut you short, you're actually talking about strengthening the capacity of institutions that actually deal with journalists.
Yeah. I was saying at Kenya Correspondents Association, we have a program on holistic safety. We managed to get this established through the support of other partners, including IREX. And with this, we trained champions. We have our physical safety champion, Omar Abdallah from the coast. And then we have the psychosocial champion, who is Olojanak, who is our director of programs from Nairobi. And I am the champion for digital safety. So anytime we look at safety, then all these strands come in. There's the aspect of finances that you're talking about. Journalists are the people who, I think a number of surveys that have been done is that not so many journalists want to get out of the newsroom to venture into other things. Because like you said, salaries are a huge issue, but it affects the aspect of psychosocial well-being of journalists. But we have other occupations where they earn even little more than journalists. But they have other ways of coming together and strengthening their capacities to have alternative sources of income. So this is something that can be discussed deeply.
Yes, Rashidi. He just says that while journalists they might actually be facing this problem that we're actually highlighting, other sectors, there are people who are actually earning some sort of resources and are able to actually come together and strengthen their capacities in different areas so then they can actually grow. Journalists, despite the fact that we are on the forefront, on the front line in terms of, one, educating the populace in terms of what they need to do, bringing out success stories, bringing out also negative stories, we still remain in a place where we don't want to grow ourselves. What is the issue?
I think, like I said, one of the issues that is coming out is, like you pointed out, we write stories. We have, for instance, in Nation, we have the Seeds of Gold. We write success stories about those who are doing farming. We cover. You write stories about Boda Boda Sacco that started small and now it's big, and it's now a big thing. They're earning a lot they have millions in the bank. We do all these stories, individual stories, enterprise stories about that. But I think, like I said, we must be deliberate. I think, one, we must love ourselves first, empower yourself as an individual first. Of course, in our Kisumu Journalists Network, we also urge members, join an association. I don't know why some journalists are very jittery in joining these particular associations, like KCA, like Kisumu Journalists Network, KUJ, and of course KUJ might be, you have to meet a certain criteria to join it, but be part of a particular association. One, you'll get empowerment, you'll get these trainings that Kevin and I are talking about. You'll even empower yourself. You'll get, for instance, this financial help that we're talking about. But journalists stay away from these particular associations.
Why is it? Is it the training, Rashidi? where you are told that you must be the first on the scene, at the scene of this story. You must be the first to break the story. You must have the best story. Is it that type of training that has actually configured us to believe that we can actually just do these things on our own, yet we're actually suffering inside?
Actually, there's a journalist joke that we live per day. Meaning per day, meaning you live what you earn that day, what you experience that day, you forget about it, you cloud all your experiences, what you saw today, the accident, you got another accident the next day. So this living per day mentality should also be we should not have it. Then secondly, this idea of journalism, you've mentioned it, we have access to Ashimiwa, we have access to these particular big hotels. So when you lose your job and you cannot access this, it becomes a problem to move on. So I think it's attitudinal change that we should have also as journalists, so that we focus on things that can help us out or past the newsroom. I remember there was a time when we were taken through a very good session on mental health issues, and it was an eye opener. It was a very big eye opener to us. But follow-ups from that has been difficult for journalists. We go there, we are thrilled, we say at this time we have changed, we are going to follow this. But it's a big issue, I think, but mostly I think it's an attitudinal change from our end, yes.
Kevin, we have actually attended a number of forums with you, and specifically on mental or psychosocial support related issues. And one of the conclusions, one of the recommendations that we had in one of the forums that we did here in Kisumu was that organizations must actually come up with psychosocial support desks in the organizations, that associations like yours and Rashidis, and of course KUJ and other organizations, support organizations like Media Council, must actually now find ways of actually coming up with this desk, so then journalists can actually walk in, get assistance when, as and when they need it, and actually walk out. That seems not to have taken root, as Rashidi says. How then do we ensure that when we are having these discussions, it's not just about reporting, it's not just about pouring out our frustrations, and then thereafter, of course, everyone walks home and we forget about what we've discussed today, and then tomorrow we are discussing other things?
Yeah, I think what Rashidi talked about, that would be the beginning. Having that self-awareness, and then changing attitude, because as journalists we solve a number of problems, so we feel we can solve
or we think we actually solve
or we think we can solve. Yeah, you do a story about something and a solution comes in, so you feel we are solving people's problems, and there's no one who can solve our problems. We can solve them on our own, but this is a lie, because sometimes we don't realize that we are also in problems. Like when you talk about psychosocial issues, you only realize someone is in a problem when someone has a show cause letter. And you just talk about it, so and so has been given a show cause letter, these days is drinking himself out and all that. But nobody tries to figure out that what could be the reason. So I think when we have that change of attitude, it will be easier for us to start at individual levels, so that we can look for help from our friends, and then we can move to professionals, because psychosocial help is a journey. It's not something that you come once and it's gone. Just like Rash was saying, we've had instances where we get partners who are able to do this, and then people would have one session and everyone is gone. Nobody wants to follow up. So I think it's because of attitudes. If we can start from that, it will be easier for us to push for these associations to set up such kind of desk. It will be easier for us to even ask for help from partners who can provide a specialist to help with that, so that going forward, everybody knows, if I look at you and you look like you're not okay, Achola, I'll
come in and
and connect you to someone and say, can we just have some tea and have a talk?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a phrase that Rashidi keeps using in one of our platforms, the Kenge mentality. Of course, he'll tell us what exactly that means. One of the contributory factors to some of these problems, colleagues, is the fact that at times the environment we work in and ourselves also attach ourselves to this environment and feel that we are actually part and parcel of what is going on. And we are entering into an electioneering period. Let me say we are actually right inside the electioneering period, right? And the campaigns are on. This, of course, has been one of the periods that greatly contributes to mental stress for journalists, and not just journalists, but of course, all stakeholders are involved. How then do we navigate, Rashidi, in this space? So then, yes, I know that I'm having issues in terms of payment at your place of work, and you're looking at this politician, and you're saying that this is my hope. I have to trumpet each and everything that this person says to the best of my ability, so knowing that the coming after the election cycle, then I can actually be an employee of his or hers. How then do we navigate in this space? So then, one, we reduce expectations. Two, we avoid situations where we put our life at risk in terms of, being attacked by whoever that wants to attack us. But more importantly, dispense our duties to the best of our ability.
I think we are in a period that is very tricky for us. I know I'll start by saying, giving a practical example. A journalist maybe in Siaya County stays in Ugenya. A governor has a story in function in Mageta Island in Imbo, huko kwetu. You don't have means, so you are given a lift in a county government vehicle. Munafika Usenge, you have to take a boat. That boat, you share the boat with the governor going to the other side. And then you come back the same way. And you are expected, if there is a story, if a governor is called in Mageta or something goes wrong, he's put on the spot. How will this journalist handle all this? That I leave that question. But I'm just pointing into a very dicey, a very tricky moment for us. I know many times after elections you journalists being absorbed in all these government, and now you wonder, you track back, how are these journalists reporting on this particular politician? But what I say is we have our media council code of ethics that guides us. Be factual, just follow all the codes of ethics. Wanasemaga nyota yako itaonekana one day. You don't have to maybe go against the code of ethics for you to maybe get favors. It's a time that it will be difficult. You'll be looking at your pocket. You don't have salary. You haven't been paid, and you're being offered something. But you have to strictly adhere to the code of ethics to guide you through this period. You never know. Maybe you're reporting that we see many journalists get awards. Their mayor was just the other day. Did they pay for those awards? Did they actually solicit for those awards? So you can always be appreciated in a different way. So it should be a tricky moment for us journalists, but ensure that you stick to the code of ethics.
Kevin, you must be talking to your members strictly and telling them, yes, things are tough, yes, but you must find a balance.
In fact, as we speak, already Kenya Correspondent Association is working on a monitoring team so that ahead of the elections, we have members across the country who are monitoring the situation against journalists and reporting so that it can help us prepare for election coverage. But just as Rashidi has said, we work within laws and rules. Mm-hmm. Breaking these rules is a matter of choice. Mm-hmm. But as an association, we try as much as possible to put facts on the table, tell our members this is what is expected of you. But when it comes to the issue of ethics, like it's talking about, it's true. Journalists find themselves in certain compromising situations, but we've seen we have the Media Council of Kenya Complaints Commission. Some have been going to court and all that, so that we try to ensure that what we are giving to the public is what they deserve. Mm-hmm. But coming back to next year's election, you've seen, and I would say it started during the 2024 financial year. How do you call it? The finance bill. Mm-hmm. During the finance bill, you discovered that journalists were not safe. Journalists were not safe because if you report anything that seems to be negatively portraying one team, then that team would feel you are sponsored by the other team. And if you do the same, you are profiled. And we faced that in Kisumu during the 2017 elections. And it got to a point the police was telling us, we are getting into a very dangerous operation. We can't guarantee you your safety. And at the same time, they're doing that because we've covered stories and we've shared pictures of police beating people. And the next day, the demonstrators are also against you because you have pictures, you have reports about them breaking into people's businesses and stealing. And police were sometimes using some of these images to track and arrest these people. So with 2027 coming up, I think it's going to be a tricky situation, and we have to start as early as now so that we know the holistic safety that I was talking about. Yeah.
In the advent of social media, does it make it even riskier for journalists to actually operate? Someone is out there looking at how you are reporting your story and feels that you have not reported the accurate version of what is supposed to have been reported, quote unquote, also factoring in ethics and code of conduct, the way we're supposed to actually do a professional story. Two, you have actually brought out those pictures, as Kevin says, and says that had it not been Rashidi to actually bring out this picture, I would not have been identified as one of the people who actually broke into this supermarket. And also just politicians unleashing their war dogs on social media to actually attack and actually paint you in bad light.
Social media has even worsened things. I think Kevin didn't even mention, we are entering in a period where he was a victim. Where he was being attacked for asking questions. We are in a press conference, yet goons are all over. So you're like, you want to put the governor on check, but he was attacked that particular. We had to step in as journalists. And I'm really glad that journalists, especially in Kisumu, we usually united. We may have all our issues, but when it comes when one of us is attacked, we come in. So you can confirm that we really came in and to support him. So what you are talking about, social media is crazy. Somebody like me, I always think I'm tough or I may stand all this. I did a story one day, and of course, like these days, now these stories are shared on social media. The comments that were there, you may be tough, you may be... I sat in my house and just thought about one particular comment and I was like, hey, hii na imeingia. So it's... It was bad, and then it came out in vernacular. It was an abuse and all that. And it was about the way I usually do stories, the way I highlight things in Kisumu. Yet somebody can talk about me in this particular manner. So social media has even worsened things. And the issue that we're also having is this live broadcast. The live broadcast is an issue. There's a day we are covering, of course, the Linda Mwananchi team. We had a press conference in Rolls-Royce, one of the hotels around here. And just before the press conference was over, goons were already there because they're following the live feeds from the social media. And we had to, police had to come in for us to actually exit the place. So such things, social media is really a major problem. And one, like I talked about Kevin, journalists have to be united. Journalists have to, these are times that we have to be each other's keeper. Social media, I know sometimes some may see at shida mtu, but you never know when your time will come. So support your colleague when he's under attack. But just as what you pointed out, we are entering into a period where we'll be tempted. We have our own biases, but that should not come out in your stories. We are voters. I'm a voter in Milimani Market Ward in Kisumu Central, Kisumu County. So I love to make a voice by voting.
You're born, bred and schooled in this region, and so you also have your biases.
You face the same problems that you say before, because I don't have a road to my place. But that biases should not come out in your story. Ensure your story is balanced so that when it's out there, you don't appear to be on either side of the divide, because that will help you sort a number of challenges.
Kevin. Digital platforms, and Rashidi has actually touched on it a bit in terms of going live. Today, it's not even about legacy media. I was told we don't call them mainstream media nowadays. We actually call them legacy media because the mainstream has actually, social media has actually become the mainstream media, right? Before even KBC goes live on air, some little influencer is actually already on the ground and going live, right? Before Nation does their thing in a given function, there's someone who's already live, either the governor's person and of supporters, or just someone around actually already doing live. Is there a need for us to really look at these issues, and especially as we go into politics, because some of the information that are actually coming out of these functions are unfiltered, and it becomes difficult, especially for us media houses, when we are doing our stories and you are saying that this politician B actually called Kevin a dog. And I don't need to actually, Kevin is not a dog, so I'm not going to report that they called Kevin a dog, however. But there was someone who was actually watching that beat and says, Simon has not done the story the way he's supposed to do because some aspects were actually left out. How then do we navigate through this?
Yeah. We have to come to a realization that as journalists, because we are experts in communication, we are judged differently when it comes to what we share in the social media or in our platforms. Just like you've said, many politicians have known that the mainstream or the legacy media, the professional media, will always filter. And that is why they also have their media teams. And they will be having all these things flying all over. And a number of people do not understand the difference between social media and the professional media. Yeah, we've had some times where they say, you journalists, you are the ones who are propagating this. But yet, this thing has been reported by those bloggers or the vloggers that you are talking about. So I think it's a situation that we have to deal with. Currently, as Kenya Correspondents Association, we are implementing some program in Nakuru on cybersecurity. And these are some of the things that we meet when we speak with our members, and they tell you about their experiences on something that was shared. And if journalists are not well trained on cybersecurity and digital literacy, they are sometimes likely to pick those fake news or the unfiltered news and get them into their stories, especially coming to the small digital media houses, like you've mentioned, the Lake Region Bulletin. Because if you go to the legacy media, you find that the structure is a bit comprehensive, and they are able to filter the content before it can get out there. But for the small media houses, that you realize that the reporter could also be the editor, and the editor is also the marketer. So you are likely to find some of this information getting out there. But when it gets into the public, the entire media face the wrath of the public. So it's something that we need to work on.
Check. And not just these small media houses, because Rashidi has lost, I think, 1 or 2 colleagues because of using pictures that were not actually taken from. Sure. Rashidi, let's talk about training. And training has actually been key in terms of what Kevin has actually been talking about, the training. The journalists that are actually coming into this space now, is there need for a paradigm shift in terms of how we train some of these journalists, so that then they are cognizant of the challenges that they're actually coming to face, rather than just painting the before the camera face that we see? Because I'm seeing Simon on the screen, I also want to do better or be like Simon, right? That glamorous picture that has actually been painted about journalism. Is there a need for us to actually have a paradigm shift in terms of curriculum, so that then we encompass some of these things, so then these students actually that are coming through can actually understand what awaits them, so that then they are psychologically prepared in terms of how they're going to deal or operate in this industry?
Read my mind. There's a forum that we had, and some lecturers were also part of it, especially from Maseno and Masinde Muliro being around this particular area. And this really came out. The curriculum we had, I know you were in school way before we even joined. So whatever, the curriculum has just been the same. So there's need for a paradigm shift in just ensuring that those who are coming into this particular field are aware of what they're stepping into. Not the glamorous picture that they used to see. You see somebody TV station. This is the kind of lifestyle he has. But beyond this, what do people go out through in the field? So there's a need for that, and also introduction of short courses for journalists even that are already in the field, so that they are aware, because the training you had was way back. So apart from those who are joining journalism, those who even have been in the media houses for long should also go for these short courses to at least ensure that they are well equipped with the current, especially with the digital media and all that.
Personal initiative, because this guy has attended quite a number of them. Unfortunately, I've been with them in most of those trainings. In conclusion, Kevin, right? Just one word to the students and of course our colleagues as we conclude, because I'm told the president is about to speak from State House.
I just want to appreciate KBC and you, Achola, for this opportunity. But a word for journalists and for students is that media is fast changing. We must keep the pace so that we can be able to serve the public the way it is deserved.
Jeff?
Two things: speak out, especially the men journalists. Speak out when you have an issue. And another thing, journalists, be part of, have some few friends or be part of an association like Kisumu Journalists Network and others, so that you are part of the activities that will help you air out whatever is disturbing. Thank you.
It's a good point. It's a good point to end on. Speak out, be part of a group that will actually help you in terms of social support, but more importantly also go out there and ensure that you reach out to your male colleague and ask them how they are faring on. Akipiga simu shika, usije ukasema kwamba this person is constantly giving me calls that don't have a head or a tail. So ensure that you reach out to that colleague of yours, get to know what they are going through, and be part and parcel of that support group that will actually ensure that your colleague is in a better space than he is right now. My name is Achola Simon, and on behalf of Correspondent Association of Kenya, Chair Nyanza Chapter Kevin Omolo, Kisumu Journalist Network Chair Rashid Eudia, and of course Mirage Palace Hotel that continue to give us this space every other Monday, so then you can actually have this show, and each and every person that actually made this possible, our cameraman Martin Hazelowino and Simon Yamatiko, and of course our logistics person Edwin Otieno. It's thank you, and we take you back to Broadcasting House. Back to you.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday from 10 p.m. and a rerun every Tuesday from 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened. Okay, and right now we want to head to State House, where President William Ruto is assenting to the division of revenue bill that is happening right now in State House. So if you can just head over there.
The entities under the national government, including the national executive, parliament, judiciary, our constitutional commissions and independent bodies. They also agreed that 428 billion will go to our 47 county governments to be shared. They also agreed, Your Excellency, to set aside 10.25 billion for purposes of the Equalization Fund. They agreed, Your Excellency, also to retain Clause 5 to provide that should there be any shortfall in the revenue to be collected in the financial year 2026-2027, that shortfall shall be absorbed by the national government. In case there is any increase or excess revenue, that revenue will go towards the reduction of the budget deficit and payments of debts. Your Excellency, the figure of 428 billion now going to our county governments is about 21% of the approved estimates, or roughly about 15 billion more compared to what went to the county governments last year. 13 billion more compared to what we give the county governments in the current financial year. Your Excellency, by the end of June next year, if we calculate the amount of money, therefore, that has been sent, would have been sent to our county governments since the commencement of the devolution and the first division revenue bill in 2013, the national government will have released 4.5 trillion to the county governments since the commencement of the devolution. Allow me, Your Excellency, to end my commission for the day there. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Excellency, sir, I now invite you to hand over the copies of the Act to His Excellency the Deputy President, the Attorney General for publication, and the Cabinet Secretaries present and Principal Secretaries present. Your Excellency may also graciously present ceremonial copies of the Act to the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Speaker of the Senate, the Leader of the Majority Party in both Houses of Parliament, and other members of Parliament present, and all esteemed state officials in attendance. Your Excellency will unveil and display an open ceremonial copy of the Acts, while other state officials shall bear closed copies. Thank you, Your Excellency. This marks the end of our ceremony this morning.
All right, that is the ascension of a division of the revenue bill. And right now, I want us to get into our family check session. And today's conversation is on mental wellness. And specifically, we're looking at mental wellness in our modern households. How are we going about that? How is that happening? And how do we get to ensure that our homes are our safest places when it comes to mental wellness? And what better way to do it other than to have the guests that I have in studio with me. I will begin with my immediate right. We have Elizabeth Kenywa. Elizabeth is a family life advocate. She is an author. She is also a speaker and the founder of the Naomi Talk Global. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Vivian.
All right. And right next to Elizabeth, we have Ambassador Dr. Joshua O. Gwara. And he is a peace architect and the founder and CEO, Premier Dispute Resolution Institute of Africa. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And then right next to him, we have Doreen B. Atunga. Doreen is a seasoned guidance and counseling psychology expert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here for us to talk about this conversation, you know. And when we talk about a mentally healthy household, let's just begin there by painting the picture. How does that look like? When do we say that this home is mentally healthy? Let me begin with you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Probably before we address how that looks like, the question is, are we having big houses and not homes? Because those two are different. We are in a generation that is very privileged to have put up very exorbitant, exquisite kind of structures in homes, all rooms and suites, and they are well furnished. But people have minimal interactions. So they end up being just houses, very good houses, and not homes. And so I like the conversation because now we are moving from just the house to the home.
Yes.
So what happens at home is where there is love, is where you feel you're loved and you're appreciated the way you are and the person that you really are. Nobody is trying to conform you to be another person or to take up another image or look like somebody else. So you don't feel condemned, you feel appreciated, you feel loved, and you feel accepted. And that's why we say east or west, home is best. And so our assignment is to work very hard to work towards making this space very safe, to maintain it as safe. Yes.
So when we talk about a healthy or a mentally healthy household, it's a place where it feels safe.
Safe, you're loved, you're heard, appreciated, accepted.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Your point of view?
Thank you. Thank you once again for allowing us to be part of this panel this morning, Vivian. Mine is just to say that a healthy home is a home whereby you'll find that all the members in the family are appreciated the way she said. And also, apart from the list that she's provided, I believe very strongly that a healthy home can only be healthy when we appreciate the aspect of the space that we give to our spirituality, because our Creator, God, is the originator of family structure, and He gives us very precisely the ethics that we're supposed to embrace in our homes. There is a clear protocol that God has provided on how, for instance, the man of the house or a wife in the house should relate. And as they raise up their kids, there is a way in which they should raise up those children. These are some of the protocols which are supposed to act as ingredients that is supposed to bring up a healthy home, which can contribute now to having good mental health.
Okay.
So ignoring the spiritual aspect of it is a disaster. Yeah.
Doreen, why is it important for us to have this conversation, specifically in our families?
Thank you. It's very important to have this conversation because as life changes, everything is changing. Look at our families. When we talk about the mental, we are supposed, a healthy home, we are supposed to be stable both socially and psychologically. But let's look at our homes. Are our homes, are we psychologically stable? Do we have time to talk, time to sit down as a family, to talk to our children? Do the parents talk to one another? So it's very important so that we can be aware that a healthy home, we are supposed to have time to talk to one another so that we can be psychologically stable, we can have time to socialize. In case we have issues, we can be able to deal with these issues, but we cannot deal with the issues if we don't talk them out to one another.
I hear you on that. Now, there's something you had mentioned when you began. You know, there's a difference between a house and a home. You know, and you mentioned that you know, there's that privilege where you are able to live in a house that is big enough, everyone has their own room, it's actually en suite, so you don't even have to come out to go to the washroom. You can just be in your room the whole day and you're still there. So just, I look at this as one of the stressors we have in the modern homes. So maybe if you can just touch on some common stressors that that is rather affecting our modern families today.
So thank you for appreciating that we have more of houses than homes. And in those homes, we are now graduating them to accommodation centers from how you're describing it. Because when you don't interact, or the way she's described it, people communicating, people having a family time and talking. So you're basically moving to the level of an accommodation center, where you come in, you sleep, you go to the kitchen, which becomes a common area, serve your food, then go to your room. So you can have an entire weekend where people rarely meet face to face, yet they're supposed to be in the same home. So that thing of you being able to pick what the challenge is with the other person is minimized, is brought at the minimal level. And then what happens is that's when you realize people start saying, we didn't know this was happening. We didn't know she was going through this, because there's very minimal interaction. Now, with our children, that even makes it worse, because their problem-solving skills is brought almost to zero. Now, a child comes from school, is in their own space, so they move from the dining to their space, they do their homework and all that stuff. Previously, children would share space, a room, and so they would have right there start practicing their problem-solving skills. How? They would have conflicts there. This is mine. No, this is my space. No, move your bed. Make your bed, and all that stuff. So right from that age, we started having problem-solving skills built. But right now, that one is being removed from the equation. So you have nothing that is really bringing a challenge to you. By building those big spaces, we are really reducing those places and opportunities of learning small things like problem-solving skills. Then again, you were talking of stressors. Our economy is stressing us. People are running left, right, and center, trying to close the gap, because, of course, the economy is really skyrocketing. The prices are up the roof. Now we are having a modern home where both the wife and the husband are both of them chasing the bacon. And now they are looking towards not just chasing the bacon, but building bakeries at the expense of everything else, where the nurturing role now takes a back seat and the provision takes the front seat. Then what happens? You have children who have nowhere to express their feelings. The nurturing role is substituted by the gadgets and the caretakers at home, and right there, it becomes an accommodation center and no longer a functional home.
And you know, Dr. Joshua, I would want you to weigh in on this. I mean, there's where do we draw the line between, as a parent, you know, father or mother or father and mother, you really need to bring home the bacon, right? You really need to ensure that the family is catered for financially. So where do we draw the line between I am busy with work, ensuring that you all are comfortable in the house, and I have time at home? Where do we draw that line? Because for some parents, maybe it's impossible for them to be at home.
Thank you, Viv. I think this is the best way I can respond to that. And allow me to wade into one of the famous statements that has been put across by John Maxwell. He says, everything rises and falls on leadership. In life, everything rises and falls on leadership. What do I mean by saying that? Is that for a home to really be a home or homely, the people who are forming part and parcel of this home must embrace certain value system. And this value system has to be injected or be brought by the leader, the head of the family, who is the father. And it is by these value systems that the father in the home, the mother in the home, the children who are in the home will know their parameters and their line which they're supposed to toe. They will know what is expected of them, how they're supposed to respond to certain issues when they do arise, And as a result of that, that will minimize any form of conflict because failure to have consistent and good family values, that is what leads now to scrambled kind of responsibilities and roles which cuts across to an extent where we always say that when you find yourself in a space where a certain duty is for all of us, then it is for none of us. And when it is for none of us, then that means that a vacuum is going to be created. Yeah? And failure to establish the family values, that is what will contribute to failure in the system. Because there is no guideline, there is no clear path that even the children who are being brought up can understand that this is what is expected of us, and this is what you're supposed to deliver. And then finally that ends up creating what we call also false expectations. Because have you ever asked yourself why when the two, when I talk of the two, is the husband or the husband and the wife, when they came together during the early stage of their marriage, they used to call each other some sweet and good names. My sweetheart and my everything. But with time, you find that those good statements get worn out. And you wonder, how did they drop the ball? It is because lack of clear family value system in place. And no wonder you'll find that now the children are being brought up. When they find that there is no value system, they'll look for some values for themselves. And in the social media today, with the flow of information, they'll go gathering from all over. And there they will get for themselves some teachers who are crooked, those who do not embrace the positive value system. So I think that is one of the areas where we have dropped the ball, and we just need to recollect it from that point.
On values. We have dropped the ball when it comes to instilling values in our children. All right. And I think I'll get back to you on that to elaborate further. But maybe just, Doreen, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges? You know, as a guidance and counseling psychologist, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that our children and teenagers are facing now?
Thank you. Our children and teenagers, the greatest challenge they are facing is stress. Why I talk about they are facing stress? These teenagers, they are growing. They are on a transition, stage by stage. And if you look at our houses, parents, we are very busy. And also to add, nowadays we have house managers in the house. We have decided just to leave our children to the house managers. So parents don't have time to talk to the children. And also parents think like the only thing they can do to the children is to provide. I've paid school fees, I've bought food. So once I go back to my house, I just ask, have you taken supper? Yes. Have you done your homework? Yes. I then hand them over to house manager. Check the children to sleep, and that's all. So these teenagers, remember they are growing. They need to be guided. They need to be talked to. They are not being talked to. In school, they have pressure for education. Also, they have pressure to grow up, to have something good in life. The academic challenges in school, who is talking to them? So you find these teenagers, our children, they are having stress. And also the children, the small children who are growing. Remember, our children, they run from what they see. Behavior, they run from what they see. So if the way they see our houses, we are busy, they are now growing in that behavior. You could find them, once they are in the house, they take their phone, they are on phone. And that now becomes a behavior. They grow up with that habit. So children, the greatest challenges they are going through is stress. And this stress is putting them to depression. And when they go to school, you would find them taking actions on their own because no one is guiding them.
No one is even listening to them. And I don't know if there's a correlation, you know, with the unrest we've been witnessing in our schools. I mean, it has been out of hand, if I may say so. Does it have a correlation with what we're talking about today? Is it all a matter of mental wellness? Is it all a matter of children who maybe are not being listened to, or they don't have a place to share their emotions?
Yes, it's a yes and no, yes and no. And I'll start with a yes from what she picked, is we are busy, Vivian, and we've just actually, we've made being busy to be the norm, that if you're not busy, you're not okay.
You should be up and about always.
You should always be up and down. And actually the word is, I have crazy schedules. And you look very important.
Yeah.
When you tell us you have crazy schedules. But crazy schedules at the expense of what? Now we are leaving children at home who, as she says, are growing, who need guidance. Who is guiding them? Now, we are buying them very sophisticated gadgets. And so the gadgets are giving them information overload. Okay? So even when they get to bed and they need to rest, are they really resting, or they are taking time to process the much information they have gotten from everywhere? Is there someone to guide? That's why I say the nurturing role has really taken a backseat, and it's been given to a caregiver, sometimes the house girl, a caregiver. Who do you really think is going to instill the values you want seen instilled?
And that's not their responsibility.
That is not their responsibility. Their core responsibility is to earn a salary fast at the end of the month and keep your house clean. Other things follow.
That's true.
Other things, the first response, earn their salary. Whether you call it a responsibility or not, at the back of their mind, they need to put something in their hands. And so you find a child who is well informed but lacking in wisdom, because that information they have is not guided on how it's supposed to be utilized. Now we're also having a parent who is also operating at a point of ignorance, and they are blaming this technology, they are blaming this space. And my question is, do we make the attempt to try and get into their world to understand just a little bit of what their world looks like? No, because as we are busy, we come home with our social battery is very low. So we are conserving energy. As she says, have you done your homework? So we become like military officers. Go, move, come, go, we are done. 10 minutes. And that is what is totally destroying. Now these children have parented themselves. They can do what they know, they want. There are no rules, there are no regulations. They set the rules. And that's why they're going to school and saying, we want our hair done this way. We want now to start wearing trousers. And even the teachers, as are coming to the pressure, they are saying, yes, madam, to a 15-year-old who is now setting the rules. Now we are facing danger. Unless we address that, sooner or later, these roles are now reversed. We need to wake up.
And how do we address that? How do we ensure that the roles do not reverse as they are?
We sit down, do an opportunity cost as a parent, where one thing has to take a backseat. If we want to pursue a career, for example, Vivian, you have a 6-month-old baby, you want to go back to school to do your master's. Error. I know that is not popular, that is not common, and I have no apology for that, because I believe life is lived in seasons. When our children are younger, we ought to be so much present. And I call it a double present. Present physically there, and present to the point that you can be able to see even their facial expression when it's changing. Because you can be present but busy. And especially now that work has come to the house with the laptops, they're constantly calling you, check on that email, do this, and then you're on WhatsApp, you also want to see what is happening. So that's why I'm calling it a double present. Be available, but equally be sensitive in noticing even the small changes in the tone, how they're expressing themselves. And you can say, this girl is not okay, this boy is not okay. So we have to be double present. Present, present. For us to be able to start addressing this. Number 2, the last time I was here, I said there are 3 things we need to realize. Once you become a parent, you need to know what to defer, what to delegate, and what to delete. Definitely when you enter the new season of parenting, there are things you will have to delete. Education, going back to school, you can always defer and pick it up later when your child joins school also. There are things you can delegate so that you're not also overwhelmed and not available for your child. So a mother coming home doesn't have to really go to the kitchen and cook. She can delegate that so that she has more time to sit with the child at home. So that's basically what I'm saying. We can sort it out We can, but there has to be an opportunity cost. Do we want to continue running, or can we slow down and say there are things I can pick up later, but let me first of all streamline this, instill the values, and then continue with the chase.
All right. I want us to get back to the conversation on values, because, you know, she's also touched on it. So when it comes to values and instilling values, you mentioned that that is where we are going wrong. So where exactly did we drop the ball from your point of view? When did we drop that ball of we do not set values, or we do not instill values in our children? And maybe someone may ask, when do you start instilling these values?
Thank you. That's a great question. I think the best way can respond to that is this way. Where we drop the values, or where did we drop the ball?
Yeah.
From so many points, if I may use that. The first place which I can mention very clear is we have come to be more of a copy and paste society. Anything that comes from the West, it's like it is from heaven. As long as it's being done, practiced in the US or in the Europe world, whichever, we copy and paste. And I can take us back to the 1995 famous Beijing, the 4th United Nations Women Convention. I think you can remember the story about Beijing, where the source where women started getting their rights.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm not against it, but this was as a result of some of the mindset of globalists, of which they came in with the narratives of equality, of which I'm not against equality, but the lens by which you look at it matters a lot. So what do I mean by saying this? The empowerment of women is good, but it can only remain good when these women who are being empowered also remain spiritual, in the sense that they will understand how to tamper this empowerment with the perspective of the maker, who already has provided their role very clearly in the word. So embracing the Western culture has created a lot of culture shock in our system. A lot of culture shock. And that is part of what is even led to many kind of conflict in our families. Not only in our families, but even also now in our learning institutions. We have a lot of unrest because of the culture shock. What are this kind of culture shock? You will find at home, when we are bringing up our children, we have provided sufficient space for them to express themselves. And they grow up, and we appreciate them. We look at them and we see great leaders in them. But when they join the boarding, and I'm specific about boarding high schools, they find a totally different environment where that kind of space to express themselves is taken away from them immediately. And as a result of that, they react. How can they react best? Maybe just to ban schools, or to boycott class, or to go mute in certain areas. And then immediately the administration starts misinterpreting these are indisciplined children. They are not ready to follow the school rules and all that. And I ask myself, do parents have the bandwidth even to interrogate the school rules and regulations? Are the school administrators open enough to allow parents to interrogate and evaluate the school rules? Those questions need to be answered. We know we can't have enough, even if we had enough police to deploy in every single school, it will not deter that kind of challenge that we are having in our schools today, that conflict that is prevailing today. But here, when we came now and we promulgated, for instance, the new Constitution 2010, it outlawed the corporal punishment. And I'm not celebrating that when we used to have corporal punishment, everything was okay. No. I know I'm part of those who are caned. And the caning did some good work, but it was not the best also. Then we ask ourselves, what is the best system? The best system is create an environment which will allow every single person in the family to find space to express themselves. In your family, Vivian, if you have one, do you have a mediation corner where your child can summon you to that corner and tell you, Mom, I have an issue with you, I want us to address. Dad, I have an issue with you, I want us to address. When you walk in that mediation corner, you remove the heart of, don't you know I'm the father who provides everything? Don't you know I'm your mom and all everything? No, you remove that and you sit and you just stoop down to be at the same level with a child. Then listen to him, listen to her. Give a quality, attention. We don't have those spaces in our homes. We don't have those spaces in our schools. This is what is creating what we call culture shock.
But let me ask you,
yes,
were these spaces there back in the day?
Very much.
Were they?
Yeah, because now we are living in urban, we are disconnected with our local, our roots. Many years back, we used to have what we call the round sitting, when the youngsters, the young men would sit with the elderly around the fireplace, and the elderly would, narrate to them the historical background, how our society began, where we came from, how we are here, the way we are today, and they would have opportunity to ask questions. That is how a boy child was being brought up to become a man. That is how the girl child was being brought up to be made ready to become a wife. But we don't have those spaces today. What do we have today? Gadgets. What is gadget giving us? The Western culture. And when we bring all those cultures, they get scrambled. And now we treat our African culture with some kind of negative mindset. Everything African is deemed like that is primitive. I'm shocked today, Vivian. You can imagine, many years back when the white came, it was said everything African is negative and is primitive. And we embraced the sugar, we embraced, the kind of refined food, we embraced everything. But today, again, we are told those are the things that are causing, cancer? So we are going back to our local foods. The millet and the local vegetables and everything. What are we? And we are told those are the ones that they have curative nature in them. We need just to reorient ourselves and embrace the positive cultures that we used to have, and that is what made us to be a people who can stand out, and people who can raise a family which is stable and which is resilient to any changes, because changes did not begin today. Even during those many years, we used to have changes in life, but we were stable because there were certain value systems that were in place.
Right. Doreen, more or less on the same, how are we able to just create these safe spaces that we are talking about? A safe space where a child can be able to just pour out their feelings, to their parents. And where do we draw the line between this is a child just expressing themselves and this is a child who's being disrespectful? Because there's a thin line between that.
Thank you. How to create this safe space? It starts with us, like parents, to create time. Yes, we are very busy, but if we decide to create time, we can have time. Because we do get time for WhatsApp and Facebook, but we don't get time for our children. So if we create time, even the time we take our food, most of us, because they are house managers, have you taken food? Ensure children have taken food. But like parents, do we sit down with our children, like, come together, let's now eat, how was school, and then you talk. When you are sitting together and eating together, you are trying to feed, to come down to them, so that they can be free with you. Another thing, we need to make friendship. We need to be friends with these children. Remember, They are growing from children to teenagers to young adults.
Yeah.
If we don't fit in their shoes, they would never tell us what they are going through. We would have a challenge of cases. We would have a challenge of they have found a problem because they are unable to share with us. So we need to come down to their level so that we can be able to interact with them. How to create another way of creating a safe space. Ensure even after church, that 1 minute, that 30 minutes, no one works for 24 hours, to be honest. Even for 30 minutes, for 20 minutes, have a pray together with these children. They will say, oh, if dad can do this, see, I can tell her who is bothering me in school. So creating this safe space, it's easy. It starts with us. If we decide to creating time, we would be able to create this safe space. And so that we don't become, we don't discipline them, but we listen to them. Most of us, because we are busy, we rush to disciplining them in case of listening to them first. So we need to be good listeners to them, to hear what they are going through. They also experiencing peer pressure. Who is handling the peer pressure, what they are going through, if we don't listen to them. So who is a child who is not listening? Most of the time we rush to say that this child is not listening, but there are those who have some disorders. And commonly we refer to, this child is like that. In the village you find them saying, huyu mtoto hakoifo hasikiangi. So there is no child who is not hearing. Is that he had a disorder that was not handled. So if we are near to these children, if we make friendship with these children, we will not have children who are not hearing, who are indisciplined. They will all be disciplined. And where does this start? We don't wait for 15 years, and I'm just waiting for my girl to be a teenager so that I can talk to her. It starts right away. Remember, children, they have stages of growing. From 0 to 3 years, they are growing, they are learning. This is where they start running. So we are supposed to start from talking to them as young as this young age. And at this young age, 0 to 3 years, below 12 years, this is where we can learn if these children, they have a disorder, if it's a running disorder, if it's a socializing disorder, so that they can be handled. But if we don't, we will continue using that word that they are indisciplined. Yeah.
All right, and you know, what's coming out of that mainly is on communication. Communication and time as well. How much time are you giving to being present in your homes? And when you're present, are you intentionally present? Are you communicating with the people in that home, with the children in that home, the parents themselves? Are they also doing check-ins on their emotions? And you know, there's also, I want us to talk on routine as we almost finalize on this. There's something about routine that you get used to it. If I may just refer to the games that are happening, World Cup, there's something about the Japan team that always stands out, even their fans. Immediately after the game, the fans kind of clean up the place as they leave. They always do that, you know, and this is something that is always talked about whenever there's such happening. And I believe it's from routine. It's something they were used to since they were small. They know you clean up after, you clean up after. And it's been instilled and it's in them, and we see it even in these world stages when it's happening. So what is it about routine, and how can we ensure that we are on the right routines?
Well, everything begins at home. And are we there to instill those routines? I've also watched those clips on Japan and how they do it, going even to their school system and how this happens. But when you step back a bit, you realize back at home, there's one parent who is constantly present back there. Okay? That's why when he said we are taking too much of what the West is and forgetting that we had our own. Because then one parent is constantly there to make sure that that routine sticks. Because then when there's no consistency, and there's no one to ensure that that consistency sticks, then what is going to happen? People will set their own rules. You move your goalpost depending on where you want to score. So if I want to score the shortest, I'll just move it closer. I don't get tired, no fatigue, nothing. But when there's an adult, and that's why it's important, even as we talk about relating with our children, it is not a peer kind of relationship. It is a relationship where I can bring it to like a mentor-mentee kind of, that I have information and I can, the authority to streamline you. Because at the peer level, no one can streamline the other. Rarely will you call the other one to order and tell them you have to keep quiet. But when now you come in at the mentor-mentee kind of relationship, you have the power, you have the upper hand, not really to muzzle it on your child, but to instill those values and the habits and the routines that you want to see happening. So who is checking those routines? Who is setting the rules at home? Who is ensuring that they are being followed? You get it? So we come again to the caregiver who we have obligated to this duty. And honestly speaking, look at our turnovers. Our turnovers of these caregivers is very high. So one comes with this kind of way of achieving the end goal of the routine. That one is messed up. Before the child is able to adapt to it, that one is totally distorted. Then a child is introduced to another one whose way of getting to the end game is equally totally different. Again, the child is confused. The parent here is only waiting for the end result, not the how, not the process. And so there in the process, you have all mixed, it becomes a web. A mixed web. So we need consistency in order for the routines to be executed and to stick. For example, when we were growing up, our generation, we knew getting curfews were there, right? Who instilled the curfews? It is not us, it is our parents, right? And they would make sure they strictly look into it, that by this time, if you're not home, then you're answerable. But right now, you just need to make a phone call and ask your daughter, are you home? She can lie to you, because you're not connected, you're not present. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for this conversation, and this is where we get to end this. And I want to hand you over to State House Nairobi, where the presentation of the report of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights should be taking place right now.
While we remain standing, with your permission, Your Excellency, allow me to now call on Reverend Kennedy Simiyu Barasa to lead us in a prayer to open our session this morning.
Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we have gathered here, Lord, under your arm, under your supremacy, under your power. And how I pray this morning, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, the Lord, we thank you already for the peace that you have released upon our nation, upon our Captain, King of Glory, and every leader gathered here to spearhead this function, Lord, to cause peace and tranquility over our nation. We welcome you, Lord, to take preeminence over this occasion. And forever, Kenya will remain a beacon of hope, love, and even unity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
I request we take our seats. Allow me to now usher in the Deputy Chief of Staff, State Affairs, Honorable Josephat Nanok, to proceed with the state invocation. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Deputy President, the Speakers of both Houses of Parliament, Your Ladyship, the Chief Justice, the Honorable Attorney General and all Cabinet Secretaries present, the Honorable Members of the National Assembly, Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, Principal Secretaries present, the Chairperson and members of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, holders of dependent offices, and all chairpersons and members of the Constitutional Commission present, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, sir, this presidential audience has been convened for the presentation of the report of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights on the framework for compensation for reparations for victims of human rights violations, including those arising from demonstrations and public protests. This occasion reaffirms the state's role as a guarantor of the rights and freedoms and this administration's commitment to open, transparent, and accountable government. This occasion further reflects our collective resolve to foster national healing and cohesion following the regrettable loss of life and life-altering injuries sustained by civilians and members of the security services during the exercise of the rights guaranteed under Article 37 of the Constitution. It is against this backdrop that on 6 March 2026, Your Excellency issued Presidential Proclamation number 1 of 2026, pursuant to Article 2542 of the Constitution. The proclamation was subsequently published as Kenya Gazette Notice number 3114. Through the proclamation, Your Excellency charged the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights with the responsibility of developing and submitting a framework to guide the provision of compensation and reparations to victims of human rights violations, including those arising from demonstrations and public protests. The Commission was further required to submit, publish, and publicize a report containing the framework within 60 days, in accordance with the Constitution and the applicable law. In discharge of this solemn responsibility, the Commission undertook extensive consultations and has now completed its assignment in accordance with the Constitution and statute law. Your Excellency, sir, with the Commission having discharged this high responsibility, permit me to invite the Chairperson of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights to highlight the key findings and recommendations of the report and thereafter formally present the report to Your Excellency the President. Mrs. Clarice Oganga, welcome, Madam Chairperson.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. Kithure Kindiki, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Dorcas Oduor, the Chief Justice, and Chair of the Judicial Service Commission, Honorable Justice Koome, the Speakers of both Houses, the National Assembly and the Senate, Principal Secretaries, Chief Secretaries, and all protocols observed. Allow me to ride on the protocols as been set by Honorable Nanok. Your Excellency, today marks a historic and significant milestone in Kenya's continuing journey towards justice, accountability, and most importantly, today opens up a national conversation on the long overdue question of violations of human rights, but also the issue of reparations, including the matter of compensation for persons who have suffered violations. So today, Your Excellency, we gather here not to merely present a report, but to reaffirm the state's duty, obligation, and commitment to recognizing people who have suffered violations as a result of exercising rights, and to move towards providing meaningful remedies for the harm they have suffered, and to reflect and agree on the kind of country that we want Kenya to be. Your Excellency, from the onset, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights wishes to sincerely acknowledge Your Excellency for the decisive leadership and commitment demonstrated in initiating this very important and significant process of not just having a national reparations and compensation framework for victims of human rights violations, including victims of protests and demonstration, but the conversation around healing and reconciling the nation. Your Excellency, as a country, we cannot have a conversation about human rights, about reparations, about compensation, without honoring and recognizing the enduring and courageous role played by the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga, whose consistent advocacy for the respect of human rights and reparations for victims of violations has significantly contributed to sustaining this important national conversation. He was very passionate about addressing human rights violations as a critical step in confronting the historical, socioeconomic, and political challenges that have continued to affect our beloved nation. So today's event, Your Excellency, is therefore the greatest tribute that we can have as a nation to honor the legacy of the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and implementing the recommendations herein is a posthumous honor to his legacy. Your Excellency, your bold and deliberate decision to require this reparations framework demonstrates a profound understanding that the state's obligations to victims must be fulfilled through structured, principled, and time-bound action grounded in law, policy, and institutional commitment. This truly reflects our national moral obligation and profound need for justice, accountability, reconciliation, and national healing. It recognizes that sustainable peace cannot be built upon unaddressed grievances, and that genuine unity requires acknowledgement of past wrongs, restoration of dignity to victims, and a collective commitment to ensuring that such violations never recur. Your Excellency, the Commission accepted and embraced this responsibility with utmost humility, seriousness, unwavering resolve, and above all, a deep sense of national duty and commitment to justice. Your Excellency, this unprecedented national undertaking marks the first time in Kenya's history that the government has on its own initiative embarked on such a process, one that seeks to formally acknowledge that human rights violations occurred, and this landmark initiative signifies a clear commitment to move the nation from documenting to redressing, from acknowledgement to reform, and from recognition to accountability. Your Excellency, successive governments have received numerous reports documenting grave human rights violations, including the historic Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission report. These reports recorded violations, identified victims, and set out clear and concrete recommendations, including the establishment of mechanisms for reparations. However, Your Excellency, most of these findings remain largely unimplemented, leaving victims to endure prolonged and burdensome pain, loss, and unaddressed injustice without remedy. The report that we will be presenting to you today, Your Excellency, captures stories from victims and reminds us that behind every statistic that we will be presenting today is a human being, is a family, is a community whose suffering sometimes remains unseen and unacknowledged. And by giving a voice to these experiences, the report contributes to a national process of healing founded on truth, recognition, and remembrance. Your Excellency, the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution presented a transformative commitment to human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. Through the Bill of Rights, Kenyans are guaranteed freedoms of expression, association, assembly, and access to justice. However, despite these constitutional guarantees, violations sometimes continue to occur, particularly in the context of demonstrations, public protests, elections, and civic engagement. And this reality has underscored the need for a structure, effective reforms to bridge the gap between constitutional promises and lived experiences. Your Excellency, while the Constitution guarantees us rights, we must, as a matter of urgency, begin to have a national conversation on responsibilities as part of human rights. The conversation around responsibilities sometimes misses when we have conversations in the country. Responsibilities of the citizens as they exercise their rights and the responsibilities of the duty bearers as they carry out their duties. Responsibilities to ensure that our rights do not infringe on others and that exercise of rights does not lead to deaths, does not lead to injuries, does not lead to destruction of livelihoods, destruction of property, including public property, and which public property is expected to offer services to us as citizens. Your Excellency, we must now more than ever have a conversation on the cost of violent protests in Kenya. There is a significant cost on human lives, including deaths and injuries, and contribution to instability of the country. But violent protests also have significant short-term and long-term economic consequences for Kenya, affecting public finances, private sector growth, investment, employment, and overall economic stability. The impacts extend beyond the immediate destruction of property and often undermine development gains accumulated over the years. Your Excellency, violent protests lead to reduced economic growth. They disrupt business operations, transportation networks, and commercial activities. Businesses are forced to close temporarily, leading to reduced production, lower sales, declining tax revenues, and when protests occur repeatedly, economic growth slows as both domestic and foreign investors adopt a wait-and-see approach. For Kenya,